It's Friday here, and it means it's time to compete for $4.5 million. Because yes, indeed, today we're going to go for 3 best ball draft sites at the same time. We got Best Ball Mania open. We've got the DraftKings Millie open. We've got the Drafters main event on there open. Lots of great tournaments to get into. And I'm going to get into all of them here with you on stream today. In fact, I'm starting a little bit early here, but let's enter them all at the same time. We can see which fills first. If I had to guess, it's going to be BBM, but who knows? Oh, great. Underdog can't detect my location. That's... Great. Well, always a great way to start here. We got drafters, though. Let's join this then. Underdog can wait now because I have to do my location again. Let's join. All right, 5 more on drafters. Entering on DraftKings as well. This is going to be my first DraftKings draft of the year, so let's keep that in mind. Let's be generous and kind to me here. Got 11 out of 12 entrants on there. And Best Ball Mania 6, here we go. 30-second clock for this one, because we are going to be doing the 3 drafts all at once here. And really, I didn't want to do a gimmicky draft. I actually wanted to do one site at a time here. It looks like we got 3 out of 12 spots filled in Underdog. I wanted to try to do it and just show the differences one by one, because this could be something we're doing more on stream this year, in large part thanks to our friends over at Drafters, who want to be able to show me here or have me on the channel show you guys what Drafters looks like, what Underdog looks like in their big tournaments, what DraftKings looks like. And I know from you guys out there, a lot of you last year were mad I wasn't doing DraftKings drafts. Obviously, we did a lot of Underdog, did a lot of Drafters as well. This year, we're going to be doing a little bit of everything, because that's what Best Ball is all about, spreading the love across all the platforms, especially ones with a lot more EV to go around, like our friends at Drafters. So if you appreciate this content, do check them out. $100 deposit match at Drafters, the promo code SPLASH. But let's see what goes on here with the fill rates as we get going. All right, so we still got 5 more on here. DraftKings draft starting off. So fastest fill rate right now was for DraftKings for me. We'll see what we get going here. Did also start to update my rankings today. So if you are a member of the channel, if you're paying for that, there actually is a version of the Underdog BBM rankings out now. Updated a bunch of blurbs as well. Going to be adding DraftKings and Drafters rankings next week too. So join the Squirt Squad tier or the VIP tier down below if you want to get access to that. But I'm excited to see what DraftKings looks like. I do know from the Discord overall, is BBM just not filling? Am I... If you guys want to draft me on BBM, you can take advantage of me being in multiple drafts on multiple sites at the same time. Please feel free to do that. But yeah, for DraftKings, I'm curious to see what's going on. I do know from the Discord, a lot of people have been building what they feel like are super teams pre-draft. And now that we're in the main events of things, the post-NFL draft period, not quite the frenzy and the full knowledge base that we have come July and August, not even the knowledge base we have come schedule release in a few weeks here, usually mid-May. But still, you know, for DraftKings, we now know enough of the picture to feel like we're getting some meaningful EV on certain players. So we'll see what happens there. Shout out to the chat, guys. Appreciate being here. I'll tell you what I do with $2 million, 3 best ball drafts at the same time. Glad somebody got the reference here. And for the record, I'm just going to say before we go into this DraftKings draft, this is not AI. I had to Photoshop this because ChatGPT would not, so it wouldn't give me good images. I could show them actually because they were really, I don't want to log in on ChatGPT on this window. Let me go to a different tab. But basically try to do it with ChatGPT. It didn't work for me at all. Basically told me that, it gave me some images that didn't look good. Then it also told me at one point, like it goes against their content rules or whatever. So it's like a little bit perplexed with what was going on with the AI image generation that I know some people out there are Pal Davis-Matic using pretty well. But you know, I could not get that shit to work at all. I had to do good old fashioned Photoshop. All right, we are at pick in this draft. Let's see. Pick 9. Should I zoom out here? And let's try that maybe. Got to get used to different sizes for these sites here. Nothing surprising so far on DraftKings. Still looks like we're waiting for 8 people on Underdog. Is that what is it? I mean, look, if you guys want to draft on BBM, please feel free. Now's the time. I guess everybody's doing eliminators. There's that cheap tournament. I think there's a Schnauzer going right now. So nobody wants to put in their BBM entries too early. Shout out to all you guys hanging out here. Appreciate the GMs. Our guy Fantasy Football Garage streaming a lot lately. I've been seeing at nighttime. Shout out to my guy Bindles. I know also doing the thing as well on the YouTubes. Our guy Chunk here. Robert Griffin the Turd. Guy TD, or formerly Terrence. Now you've got the short name. And Rough Buff Fire. Appreciate all you guys hanging out here. And of course, being members on this channel does go a long way to support the show and the content that I try to do here, where it's not for everybody. You know, I know that all too well at this point of things. But I do try to do my best here every stream to give you guys good info and good data and hopefully find some things to talk about. But so much to go on football-wise in general right now. We've had a lot of coach quotes coming around out there. We talked about all my my post-NFL draft takes on Sunday in the first stream we did on Drafters. For the most part, I feel like coming my rankings together, putting that together, I think the biggest talking point overall draft-wise has got to be the RJ Harvey thing. RJ Harvey, your most popular pick in a lot of drafts right now, has stormed up 120 picks in ADP. We'll talk more about him in a moment here. Would have loved to get Neighbors. Big fan of what the Giants have done this offseason. I think they are set for the future, if not for this year specifically. All right, Amon-Ra, Puka Nacua, Derrick Henry. Amon-Ra, I'm okay with. They've been talking up Isaac Tesla a lot. And he is mostly a slot guy, or was a slot guy in college. Didn't really do a whole lot with it from what I can judge. I actually like Puka Nacua more than Amon-Ra this year, I think. Not sure that's going to be fully materialized my rankings, but Puka Nacua to me getting the opportunity here to show what he can do as a true wide receiver one. Last year commanded targets at incredible rates overall. He was at, oh, come on. Puka averaged 39% target per route run on his 10.6 intended touches a game. You take Cooper Kupp out, you add Devontae Adams in. I think that's a 1-to-1 there. And Adams, you can make the case, basically the exact same player as Kupp last year in terms of the advanced analytics. Obviously, a little more fantasy upside for Devontae Adams on the home stretch when Cooper Kupp completely fell apart there. But I think for Puka Nacua, just a good situation overall. So, all right, here we go. This draft's starting too. All right, drafters draft going. I missed the first couple picks. That's my bad. Didn't give me a notification. But I like the situation for Puka, so I'm happy to get him wherever I can. And here we have Ladd McConkey. PPR site Ladd McConkey feels pretty good. Devon Achane, very involved in the pass game last year. Adding Ollie Gordon, I think, is spooking people off of Jalen Wright a lot in the ADPs so far. But for Achane, I think he's still an okay pick. I'm going to go McConkey here, though. See if we can embrace the PPR a little bit more on DraftKings and drafters. So the start here, Puka Nacua, Ladd McConkey feels pretty good at receiver. Big upside as well. Certainly, Ladd, you can make the case. Trey Harris, I like a lot. Do you think that he should maybe carve into the overall picture a little bit more for the Chargers? Certainly more so in terms of targeting than Quentin Johnston did. For Ladd McConkey, though, I trust him as a player after what he did last year. The fact that he spiked, for the most part, when the team needed it the most in the playoffs, I think is a good cosign for his future as well. So even though I was slow to the Ladd train last year, as our guy Adam in the chat always tried to greatly bring us along as much as possible, I'm pretty okay with Ladd this year. Pretty also okay with Malik Neighbors here. So Neighbors coming up for me, pick 9. Really for him, I think it's wheels up no matter what the outcome is. What's going on with DraftKings here? Like the screen disappearing does not fill me with love. For Neighbors, the outcome right away is going to be probably Russell Wilson starting. If Russell Wilson plays poorly, gets hurt, you get Jameis Winston in. And at the end of the year, what I think is most likely happens, the Giants probably don't make the playoffs, or if they are close to making the playoffs, they fall out late. At that point, for Dable, for Joe Shane, they're just going to try and save their jobs. And at that point, I think is when they go to Jackson Dart. So my guess, and this is a guess, obviously, as much as one's going to be at this stage of things. My guess is going to be, you see all Giants QBs playing at some point this year, but no matter what, they're going to feed the ball to Neighbors more competently than he got last year. Daniel Jones, I think, was better than Anthony Richardson in a lot of ways. In particular, getting the ball where he needed to go, has like a 15% catchable ball rate, percentage points higher, rather, than Anthony Richardson. Like, he did okay for the Giants, but he's not as good of a QB as Russell Wilson. He's not as fun of a fantasy QB or as upside of a QB in terms of the value he creates as Jameis Winston. And I don't think that no matter what either, like Jackson Dart, to me, the best case scenario for him is being a lot better than those guys, at least right now. I think there's a lot of ways for Neighbors to succeed. So I like Neighbors a lot, his pick. And he doesn't have a Travis Hunter coming in like Brian Thomas as well to kind of force you to drop the ADP a little bit more. You got Derrick Henry here on drafters, Drake London, who I like a lot, A.J. Brown, Ladd McConkey here as well. Henry, one thing that jumped out with me last year, actually had our guy Tyler Emo Cowboy asking me about success rate stuff a little bit more. And basically, he was wondering if I had a site that had access to it. I looked up the version on Sports Info Solutions for success rate, which is basically the positive play percentage. Derrick Henry had a positive play over half the time. Even though Saquon Barkley, another guy people loved last year, obviously had great results, he only had a positive play percentage on 45% of his plays. So guys like Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, who are the ones that Tyler was asking about. Those guys are more mid-30s players. So Derrick Henry, despite the volume, the age, all of that, and the fact now Baltimore's added nobody else, he was the most efficient RB, one of the most efficient RBs in football. And in every advanced analytic, he looks good. I think he was also positive EPA. Yeah, he also had, he's a flat 0. Actually, no, hold on. That's not correct. Too many guys named Henry in the league. How about Derrick? There we go. Yeah, 0.11 EPA per rush, 0.26 EPA per target for Derrick Henry last year. Good numbers for Derrick Henry. So sorry to keep clicking around as well. I got to make sure I'm not on the clock in any of these because This is fucking, it's a little bit of madness here. All right, and the underdog draft almost filled with a 30-second clock, so one more spot left. Surprising to see the underdog 30-second clock taking the longest. Maybe it's because 20-second clocks filling faster for people, but drafters filled, DraftKings filled. We'll see what happens on BBM in a moment. Fantasy Football Garage talked about the 20-second versus 30-second split on underdog fast, maybe partially to blame for slower fills. That does make sense. And especially, too, because I believe the 20-second is a default unless there's like a setting that you can click to change that. People are probably playing more 20-second clocks overall. I do have to say, 20-second clocks, mentioned in the Discord. I did a few BBM drafts earlier in the week here just to get a vibe for things. I'm going to try to probably slow roll things a little bit more in terms of my BBM entries this year. I think that for the 20-second clocks, I think you're getting sniped a little bit more. I think players are panicking a little bit more. I do think you're losing some EV in those kind of spots. So we timed out on McLaurin at some point, but that's fine. Puka, McConkey, McLaurin. Would have been nice to get Jaden Daniels back, but he gets sniped away from us. Burrow unstacked, not doing a lot for me. O'Marion Hampton feels kind of overpriced to me. I don't want to keep loading up at receiver, but all right, well, Travis Hunter, come on down. Our fourth receiver in here, a Puka, McConkey, McLaurin, Hunter start. Vintage 0RB for me here on DraftKings, which was not the plan, but it's the way we're going to go now that we got sniped on Jaden Daniels. Of course. Why wouldn't we? Got Nolan hopping in. Good to see that. So the BBM draft is filled. We got, oh boy, a lot of luminaries in here, including the Roto Surgeon guy I don't like very much. We got myself coming up pick 33 on drafters here. We got Neighbors, Derrick Henry on this team. JSN, Devontae Adams, very RB or wide receiver heavy pocket, not very RB heavy. We also have Lamar here. There's a lot of receivers. Lamar pairing with Henry is kind of fun to me. I'm going to do that for drafters. Of course, we're the goal for drafters. We are doing total points here, 17 weeks of full point scoring, no pods, nothing to worry about on there. So it is a bit of a different look than you're going to get on your underdog in particular, but also on DraftKings. Full point PPR as well on drafters. So I'm pretty comfortable going the Henry Lamar Jackson pairing anywhere you can get it, but getting it on drafters, I think, probably carries me a little bit further. Hey, Spags, the 2 on drafters, the only place this UK folks can draft now. Oh, sorry to hear that. I guess Underdog never been in UK, right? So DraftKings not in UK. That does suck. I'm sorry to hear that for you guys out there. It's never good to be limited to one platform. I know, obviously, a lot of the content creators out there, and more power to them, are Underdog exclusive out there because that's the way they dictate some of their deals. I think for you guys out there, it does behoove you to get in other platforms, to get on your drafters kind of sites as well in particular, where it's frankly been the least amount of effort I've put in every year. And I've had the best results on drafters year after year. So including top 10 finish almost last year and playoff best ball. So play on drafters. Of course, they are sponsoring the show. So full disclosure there. We got Rashee Rice, Mike Evans here. I personally probably like Mike Evans a little bit more. Still think there's a decent shot of there being a pup list for Rashee Rice in his future, but we will go with Rashee Rice there. We're on the clock on Underdog. Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors. Why am I getting the same choices in every draft? Really thought I'd get some different looks here. Puka, Neighbors, Amon-Ra. I'll go Puka here again. So we've gotten Puka Neighbors starts. I guess for the sake of being different, I could have taken Amon-Ra on BBM, but we are going to go with Puka. All right, let's go to the draft board here. I've got picks coming up. I really forgot. I haven't done a multi-draft stream in a while. I like to just do one at a time because I think for me, that's been really doesn't add a ton of views when you do the same content at the same time. But I figured to make the video shorter, to introduce the concept of the fact that I'm going to be drafting on Underdog, DraftKings, and Draft this year, I figured I'd do it. And it's much more difficult right away. Both me talking and also just having to move from screen to screen. DraftKings doesn't tell you on the tab. I don't know if you guys could see it on the screen. It just says the name of the tournament here. It doesn't say, oh, like one pick away or whatever. And then for Underdog, it also doesn't update and tell you in real time accurately enough, at least hasn't historically. So I have to keep clicking around to make sure I'm not missing picks. And I've already missed one on DraftKings. So we got Kittle, RJ Harvey here. Kittle was apparently almost traded for a second-round pick pre-draft, was a report that came out today. Instead, they agreed to a new deal there. We got the overpriced rookies here with Harvey. I'm going to go Kittle. Jesus, this is difficult. So our team on DraftKings is Puka, McConkey, McLaurin, Kittle, Hunter Jr. On Underdog, we are up, even though it says we are 3 picks away, because Underdog is not a perfect platform, even though they would like you to believe that. They have, in fact, many flaws, in particular that they don't tell me when I'm on the clock. But that I am on the clock here. I can get Derrick Henry again. I can get A.J. Brown in this one to make it different. I mean, fuck it. Let's just fucking do the same thing. Let's take Derrick Henry here as well. The start here, Derrick Henry, Puka Nacua up top. On drafters, we have Lamar, Derrick Henry, Neighbors, and Rashee Rice. On DraftKings, which always takes a second to load more than we would like to have, we have Puka, McConkey, McLaurin, Hunter Jr., and George Kittle. Oh, boy. This bit's quite autistic. Look, I had an ambitious idea. It really started with the thumbnail. And YouTube people that are really good at it always say, like, start with the thumbnail and the title and work backwards from there. And that's what I did here. And instead, it's just making me really even worse at gambling than I might be otherwise. We got Metcalf, Odunze, Kenneth Walker here I do like. Really need to get some more receivers in. Ridley with Cam Ward, I want to start getting more of, and I'm going to do that here. Let's get a receiver in. Let's get Calvin Ridley. We got some time on Underdog, it looks like. DraftKings, another pick coming up here. We need RBs. All right, what do we do here? All right, we got Mahomes here, who does not stack up with anything we have. Odunze here. Montgomery Judkins here. Judkins, I've been talking myself into as I've been doing the rankings more. Do you think he got good draft capital? And Cleveland's going to want to run the ball more as that defense starts to get better around Myles Garrett. Really don't think a fifth receiver is the move. I'm going to go Montgomery first here, and let's hope that he adds some value. Feels like he's most... Oh, good. I timed out on Mahomes. We're doing great. We're doing great. Unstack Mahomes. Oof, okay. I feel like I made that click in time. I don't know if you guys could see the clock. I think I made that click in time. I think I should have had David Montgomery here. Instead, we have unstacked Patrick Mahomes, who was awful last year, with Puka Nacua, Ladd McConkey, Terry McLaurin, George Kittle, and Travis Hunter. Sure, we had a bunch of QB options I could have gotten later on, but I'll take the timed out Mahomes here on DraftKings. Fuck me. Fuck me in the butt. Hello, friend. Shout out Tyler being here. Appreciate, I think, part of the Typhel Tower streams with our other friend, Tyler. So mean, all three sites put you in a middle. It's true. It's rude of them. They should appreciate this fucking high effort thumbnail I put in. You know, honestly, you know how hard it is to find a good threesome stock photo to steal and use the YouTube thumbnail? It's really hard. So I put in the work here. All right, we got Derrick Henry, Puka Nacua over here. We could get Rashee Rice for the 100th time. Could also go Kyron Williams, take the Rams stack here. A little bit of value on Kyron. I'll take Kyron. Why not? RB Piggy Friday here. So Puka Nacua, Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams start. Really no actual value on Kyron there. We got 11 picks coming up on drafting. So good. Now I fucking have no picks up. Let's put all the picks at one time. How is it possible for me to get this fucked here when these drafts started at greatly staggered times? It's a little bit unfair. DK feels like you have to be 3 seconds early in order to actually avoid being timed out. That's what I'm feeling here. Again, I haven't drafted on DraftKings at all. Did I think maybe less than 10 drafts last year. The DK Millie all in the app. We'll say the app last year, I thought the best ball draft process on there got a little bit better, but I'm not encouraged by what I'm seeing here on desktop so far. But you can see the DraftKings board now. Again, Puka, McConkey, McLaurin, Hunter Jr., George Kittle, Patrick Mahomes. Really no correlation there I want to have. On drafters here, we got Lamar and Derrick Henry. That's at least correlated. Malik Neighbors, Rashee Rice, Calvin Ridley, Juwan Jennings. Little bits of San Francisco at every team as well. It's kind of interesting. DraftKings is a 3-second clock delay. Okay, good to know. So that's being confirmed by multiple people. All right, so that's why I got fucked there. Now we're learning things. That's the goal. We want to learn about these platforms that we go to win money on. All right, come on. Make your click, CPSU Asian. All right, we got another Niners guy here. Pearsall can get the stack with that. We also do have Mahomes here and could stack him up with Rashee Rice. Aaron Jones, I don't mind. But I'll go Pearsall here. Be done at receiver for now. We're on the clock on Underdog. We got Puka, Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams on here. And Mike Evans came all the way back. That feels pretty good. Certainly wouldn't mind grabbing Jaden here as well, adding him on to Derrick Henry and Kyron. And Puka, but I think we need more receiver help. So a Derrick Henry, Kyron start with Puka Nacua and Mike Evans. I actually like that one a lot. I think that's a fun, balanced start here. Certainly different than I would have done in previous Fridays here on stream where it was 0 RB Friday. Now we're trying to build more balanced teams because that's the way the world's moving, and I think it's easier to accomplish now more than ever. So that's where we're at. But we got a pick coming up here on DraftKings. Oh my God, what's going on? Why does it say 5 seconds? Or let's say Kelsey. Fuck, I don't. What is going on here? That gave me a 5-second clock. I hope that was communicated adequately on screen here. I clicked over to DraftKings. It said it was multiple picks away, and then the clock came up. So panic click on Kelsey here. We have our 2 tight ends, a bunch of receivers, no RBs. This is a shitty start for me on DraftKings. I'll tell you what. Oh, man. I don't want the theme of the streams here to be me giving away money after I probably protected my EV too much last year. But Jesus, man. All right, DeAndre Swift survives the draft, so he is in a better situation than he was. His ADP is coming up on Underdog as well. We will take him here at pick 87. Or actually, pick 81, but an 87.8 ADP. And now let's see how DraftKings fucks me this time. It's going to be the thing. I feel like I'm already back here. If you guys missed it a couple years ago, there was one draft I did where DraftKings had driven me insane with the on-stream drafting all year between the sniping, the timing out, and stuff like this, the bad UX. I did a stream where I did 8 hours of drafting on DraftKings, and it literally broke my brain doing that for a marathon amount of stream. For this point now, it's already breaking my brain in one fucking draft where I'm not even this isn't even been a half hour. And then DraftKings has fucked me over on like 3 picks so far. So it's a tough scene on DraftKings. The clock is off. All right, there we go. So 3 seconds being off there. Whew, fucking Jesus. All right, here we go. All right, we got Bo Nix, Jared Goff here. We don't really want a QB at this point. We do need some RBs. Ryan Robinson Jr. protected pretty well in terms of the draft capital. It didn't go to Washington. So we will go Robinson Jr. here. Could have taken Swift as well, but we'll try to do something different. So our DraftKings team right now, Mahomes, Brian Robinson Jr., Puka Nacua, Lad McConkey, Terry McLaurin. So some Washington correlation, sans Jaden, George Kittle, Travis Hunter Jr., and Travis Kelce. We got a Travis fixation here with the picks coming up lately. We're on the clock in BBM here. Oh, my God. Okay. Burrow, Kittle available. Doesn't really do a lot for me. Godwin, we could reach up and make a Tampa Bay stack, which I like. I will do that. So Tampa Bay double there. Okay, I'm not on the clock on DraftKings. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Takes a little bit here. When I first started producing streams, for a while on stream with Splash Play was just mostly me sitting here doing content while Pete would do the producing, as he was the vet at that point who had done it for a while. It took me a while to be able to do drafts and be able to stream at the same time. Doing 3 drafts at the same time and streaming is incredibly difficult. So I am sacrificing EV fully here. We got DK punishing the multi-tailors. I think all the sites are punishing me in particular today. That's how it goes. Spags, I'm sorry. I'm now coming in here. Are you doing NBA Showdown or not today for me? Unfortunately, just don't have a ton of time today because I want to do this stream. Wanted to try to do it for a couple hours was my goal initially. But for Showdown stuff, I'm hit or miss on it. I'm going to dinner with my father-in-law later. So probably not going to be doing the stream today or the slate today. So when I don't do the slate, I don't do the stream basically. But I appreciate you asking. Sorry to not be there for you today. Check out Stochastic. Got some good data for the Sims. All that 15% off on Stochastic. Do support drafters too if you guys can. I'll talk more about them in a moment here because we are on the clock yet again. It's going to be the theme, I think, of this one. 0230 build. We've got our Tampa Bay double here. That feels pretty good. Debo, we could take Washington guy. Juwan Jennings here. I like more than Debo, and I'm going to take him here as wide receiver 4. Really liking the start. We're on the clock on drafters as well with our Lamar, Henry, Swift, Neighbors, Rashee Rice, Ridley, Jennings, Pearsall team. So a Niners double. At this point, no RBs I want to go up and get. Let's just get our Niners stack. So we got Lamar and Purdy feels really good. Henry and Swift, I feel really good about the Henry part at RB. Neighbors, Rashee Rice, Ridley, Jennings, Pearsall. I think it's a nicely built drafter team. I've been fucking this team up left and right, but I think we're doing okay on there. DraftKings team is the one I'm worried most about. I think we got to get RB right in this period right now, and I'm not sure it's going to work with ADPs because I've not dug in enough yet on DraftKings rankings yet as I'm trying to start to do that. We got Mahomes, Brian Robinson here on DraftKings. Puka Nacua, Lad McConkey, Terry McLaurin, George Kittle, Travis Hunter Jr., and Travis Kelce here. So we need to get there at RB. Wide receiver, we've got a pretty good base with Puka, Lad, McLaurin, and Hunter. Tight end, we're obviously very good to go with our aged set there. To be clear, I said aged, not Asian. Though I guess I would be proud of these Asian football players as somebody who was also 25% Chinese and learned later on in life. Mark Andrews' thoughts, positive. They talked about him again this week. The GM had an interview this week as well on what shows? I think it was a local beat thing for Baltimore. Let me make my pick here, but I'm pro Andrews overall. In fact, let's do that here. let's illustrate it by taking Mark Andrews. So stacking up Andrews with Henry, with Lamar. We also have our Niner stack here, sans Kittle. So hopefully over the course of a season on drafters here, because it is total points with no pods, hopefully Andrews can beat out Kittle here. But yeah, I like Mark Andrews. I mean, they've only spoke positively about him. They said there was some trade talks before the draft. The GM was saying in that interview with whatever Baltimore studio thing there is. Basically for them, like they had gotten a few offers or talked to teams, I guess, about theoretical offers, and they felt like it wasn't in the value they wanted to give up Mark Andrews. And the basic point of things was like, Mark Andrews is going to be a player where they think they have a better shot to win a Super Bowl with him than without him. And that's going to be the case for a lot of players like Mark Andrews, and Baltimore certainly had that shot last year. Expect him to have that shot again this year, as long as things don't fall apart, you don't get a Lamar injury or anything really bad. So I think Andrews again looks pretty good. I thought you were asking, so you didn't snipe me on it. I appreciate that. What's my collab with Kai Cenat? I would do Kai's stream in a moment. Are you kidding me? Though I do feel like I index generally viewership wise pretty well with black guys, so I think there could be a fit. Though Underdog's probably going to pay him infinitely more than they would ever pay me to not do streams with me. We got Tampa Bay and the Niners here. Mahomes available. We don't really want him. I do want to get more Caleb Johnson, but I'm going to take Ayuk here. Oh, no. You know what? It's going to time out. Let's go. Fuck. I got neither of the guys I wanted to click. Well, I guess I did want Montgomery in the other draft. So there we go. You got David Montgomery at RB. We are coming up on the clock on DraftKings. Did I miss a pick? I did indeed. I got past Caleb Williams unstacked as well. Great. The DraftKings fucking not showing me what pick is coming up here up top on the tab is the death of me in this draft process right now. Where does Andrews go if he holds to the 2-point conversion? Got to be odds higher. That's a good call by Chad. People just really sour on him for reasons that were beyond his control. Even though he was a reliable red zone target last year and like they clearly wanted to go to him and use him well. I don't know. I think I'm definitely higher on Andrews than the markets are, it seems like. We got an RB spot I think we need to fill at this point. Mason looks okay. ATN, I'm still okay making that bet, though he's probably getting cheaper because of Teuton's rise. I'm going to go Jordan Mason here for this pick. Really wish he were cheaper appreciably than Aaron Jones, but we're not getting that lucky here. We're on the clock on drafters now. Don't need QB. Do need RB. Could just take another receiver too and say, fuck it. And let's do that. Stacked up Bateman, our 6th receiver. We'll make it up at RB at some point. We got an underdog pick coming up as well. I think I have another one coming up soon on DraftKings. It's because this is what joy is, guys. Getting Caleb Williams unstacked for no reason. Having to bury myself beyond that. We're doing great. All right, Baker Mayfield is here for our Tampa Bay stack. Let's not get cute and just take that. Timed out on David Montgomery. Added him into our vet-heavy room, I would say, with Derrick Henry and Montgomery in. So the underdog team, Baker, Henry, Kyron, David Montgomery, which is an accidental timeout here. Puka Nacua, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Juwan Jennings. Still like the team, just really don't think we need David Montgomery in this build. Drafters team, we have Lamar, Purdy, Derrick Henry, Swift, Neighbors, Rice, Ridley, Jennings, Pearsall, Bateman, and Mark Andrews. Look, I love the Baltimore stack. I honestly was thinking about reaching up and taking Tyjae, and that was not a bad idea. Likely, I think with Andrews could also work, and especially in a drafters kind of format where we're not going to get penalized as much in the pods. Tucker Kraft, legit value at this point as well. But I think we need to get there at RB. I'm going to take Tyjae. Tyjae, not a nut run out. Adding anybody to that room is not a great thing for him overall. But I thought he acquitted himself well, and the Titans got Cam Ward and committed to getting receivers in, adding Lockett, adding Restrepo for as little as that means later on, adding Ayumanor, who I think is going to be your Calvin Ridley, contingent value there. Tennessee's in a better situation overall for the RBs, so I liked Tyjae last year. Again, don't like anybody coming into that room being an addition, but, it is still something where I think he has a shot. Can we talk about the Bears going all out for Nicholas Jamal Chubb RB1 season? What inkling do you have that that'd be the case? I guess would be the question I would have. He looks good in his workout, clips he's putting out there so far, but that didn't really translate to being good on the field last year. We'll see. I think he's not dead though. I think somebody can sign him. We got Tracy Warren. I'm going to go Purdy here if that click came through, because we do have a Niners stack going. And at this point, I'm panicking because of all the picks coming up at the same time. So we have a 2-3-4-0 build here. Just don't like Michael Pittman enough to go up and get him. So we got Baker, Purdy, Derrick Henry, Kyron, David Montgomery, Puka Nacua, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Juwan Jennings. I feel really good about that top 4, so I'm okay punting a receiver a little bit further down. Think we're going to be in an okay receiver pocket coming up, or at least I hope. And we're on the clock here, and it timed me out already. Why show me the 26 seconds I supposedly have if you're not going to let me have 20 seconds to make a click? It's going to be the death of me on DraftKings. What the fuck did they give me now? What? Please give me an RB. No, they gave me another tight end. I fucking swear, man. I fucking swear. There's a possibility this summer that I do some DraftKings drafts with Stochastic because they have a partnership going with them. And I will do my best to, I mean, honestly, I'll only have the screen open, so it'll probably be better. But what the fuck is this JavaScript where the clock is telling me I have 26 seconds and then I have 0 and then I don't have a player? It's not correct. It's not the way this should go for a draft process. So I'll say in terms of reviewing the sites right now, DraftKings and Underdog doing well. We got Underdog doing okay enough. DraftKings killing me actively. We've got Ramondre here though. Let's take him RB3 at this point because I am just dying in this room. Our DraftKings team is awful, but we are on the clock on Underdog, so let's go deal with that. Receiver run here in this room for sure. Kirk here, though. I can live with Kirk. Kirk getting squeezed by Jalen Noel for sure. Guy who should be playing mostly out the slot. But I do think he's your guy. He gets the first crack at things. And I also think this is going to be a check down heavy, low ADOT team for the most part, given the fact that they brought in a tight end coach. He usually does portend a more run heavy offensive line focused team who doesn't take as many shots. So I do think for them getting Christian Kirk in, he'll get first crack at that wide receiver spot for the slot. We're on drafters now. We need more RBs in, but this is a bad RB pocket. Tyler Algier, still our contingent value for Atlanta. Could also take another tight end with Pitts and live with that. I'll take Pitts here. Second draft with all 3 sites, I'm going to say probably not. But I can do another drafters one theoretically. This has been a really tough run up. My goal was to do two back-to-back, so we'll see. I'm like sweating now. This is making me work too hard. I think Pete wrote it up in his P.O. Box newsletter, which was a fun one for you guys out there that are trying to make money off this content stuff. And frankly, I might not realize how difficult it can be to do that. But he wrote up at one point talking about I had a point to make. I had a point to make, and it totally left my head here between me sweating and dying. We talk about the grind and all that, and like embracing the grind or whatever, and finding joy out of the content you do. And I do think there's a healthy middle ground you have to hit where you can't always have the most fun doing your content. I think that's unfair for a lot of you guys out there, though, and for me included. It's just a lot of times you just got to suffer through just making sure you're doing the thing no matter what. And DraftKings is fully making me feel today like this is not fun, this is work. So I appreciate them for keeping me honest about it, if nothing else. We got 2 QBs already. We don't want another one there. We do need RBs in, and I took Ramondre once. I still think we're going to likely get a split backfield for New England, at least to start. We need tight ends as well. And Njoku, no, we got Ramondre. All right, that's fine. Ramondre was going to be my click, and then I was like, I should take a tight end, and it's fine. So we got Ramondre here as our 4th RB. Frankly, can make the case we're done at RB with Henry, Kyron, Montgomery, and Ramondre. And we made an anti-Travion bet, which I'm comfortable with. Pick coming up on drafters here. Oh, God. Thielen probably is last year, but we don't really want him here. Thought about taking Algier with the last pick, so I'll do that here instead. Algier, come on down. I'm sure I've missed multiple DraftKings picks already. No, not yet. It just looks like it because I took Ramondre Stevenson, but no, I didn't miss a DraftKings pick. Thank you, David, for this elite content, throwing yourself right back into the bullshit. Rooms are weird right now. They are, and it's especially weird when you can't make your pick on time because the clock doesn't show you that you're up. What's my take on Houston's OL? They gutted and only drafted a round 2. I mean, look, it's not great. I also don't sweat offensive line too much. It comes down mostly to scheme and how the coaches bring that together. Do you think it'd actually be a positive for them to bring in, a tight end coach and have that be the guy who's going to make the team probably better? Because tight end coaches tend to have success with OL. I mean, Dable's a former one. Not that the OL's been great for the Giants lately, but I think you're fine no matter what. Going to take Jaden Blue here. Jaden Blue probably a little bit too steamed up, but we need more RBs here on DraftKings. We also need something with Caleb Williams at some point. The team on DraftKings is really the biggest issue I have right now. Patrick Mahomes, Brian Robinson Jr., Jordan Mason, really awful RB2, I feel like. Puka Nacua, Lad McConkey. If Jordan Mason's your RB4, that's fine. RB2, I just not feel comfortable with that bet. Fuck, we're on the clock here too. All right. Clock on Underdog. And Njoku's still here. I thought about taking him with that last click. Could also take a cheap McMillan, but let's get Njoku in here. All right, Njoku, tight end. Not stacked up in any way, but probably a little bit undervalued because of Harold Fannin coming in. Harold Fannin getting third-round draft capital, I'm not really too spooked about yet. Really wish DraftKings also didn't have to refresh every time. I think that might be helpful for them. Oh, God. Asked a different streamer whether I should worry about the 2023 Jets O-line. He said, don't worry about O-lines. Then Aaron Rodgers died 4 plays in the season. That wasn't because of the O-line. I don't think that's on him. All right, so we need more RBs still. We have a bet on Jacksonville. I do think Tank Bigsby's got a shot to keep the role for himself. I think he's more live than people realize because they are so laser focused on Tootin. Bigsby was the one who got trusted the most last year. He also still had a 19% avoided tackle rate, which is a lot more juice than ATN had. ATN was like I think 8.5%. Looked that up yesterday, so it's top of mind. But basically, Bigsby wasn't bad. I think I could take the shot on him here, even though this team doesn't make a ton of sense on DraftKings. Let me give it a read, though. We've got Mahomes, Brian Robinson Jr., Jordan Mason. Again, hate Mason as RB2. Puka Nacua, Lad McConkey, McLaurin, Kittle, Hunter Jr. I like that. Kelsey, I'm okay with. Caleb Williams, didn't want it. Tucker Kraft, didn't want him. Ramondre, Jaden Blue, Bigsby. I think we're making it up okay at RB, but the timeouts are just killing me on that fucking DraftKings draft. All right, we got RBs up here. Dobbins, no. Neal, mostly contingent value. I'm going to take Ayumanor. Not a big fan of Ayumanor's talent. I've said in some of the rankings content I've done that I think that he grades out a lot to me, like a former Stanford guy as well, Michael Wilson. Just think he's an okay outside guy. He's not a great, he's a better athlete than Michael Wilson, but he's not a great target earner, not a great EPA guy, nothing really flashing in those respects. But I do think that Ayumanor going to get a shot to be playing out wide as your wide receiver too. And I think he's also your contingent value for Calvin Ridley. So for him here, I'm going to take him. We don't have Cam Ward, but I like Ayumanor a lot more than I did pre-draft. I'll say that. You're telling me the guy taking bong hits before his big draft night isn't the leader of the worst ranked Texas line? Sounds like an upgrade. I mean, look, I think when you have mostly coaches coming in that's showing a willfulness towards the scheme of getting the run game right, I think it's still the mostly positive thing you're looking at for them. But definitely losing talent, never really a good thing on paper. All right, we got, I think Rachaad White makes sense for this team. McMillan is also just so cheap here. And I don't think he's as dead as the public does. I think they're misreading, and I think it's something that, well, let's go to drafters. I think the public in general and the markets get wrong in general, understanding that guys play different positions, and like a guy who's a natural slot will likely end up being a slot more often than not. But we need a pick here. Shipley, Corum, I think adding one more RB in. Let's get some Saquon theoretical leverage and go Shipley here. A lot of being asked of Derrick Henry on this team. We have time to give the team a read. Oh, God. Just want to not get fucked on DraftKings for one round is going to be my goal. I got 5 picks coming up here. All right, let's go through. Let's read these teams. The DraftKings team here. Not Igbuka. I didn't get Igbuka, and he could certainly be the one that spikes in a week 17. On drafters, getting like McMillan, Godwin, Evans, and Igbuka would be tough draft capital for all 4 of them right now. I think it would be kind of appealing on drafters to just cover that room entirely. And then watch Kate Otten go nuts, but it wouldn't matter as much on drafters. All right, so on DraftKings, we have Mahomes, Brian Robinson Jr., Jordan Mason, Puka Nacua, Lad McConkey, Terry McLaurin, George Kittle, Travis Hunter. We have really starved receivers since then. We have Kelsey, Caleb Williams, getting timeouts here, not helping. Tucker Kraft, Ramondre, Jaden Blue Tank Bigsby. So we've got 5 RBs, 4 receivers. We need to spam receiver late and make them guys who have real upside. I still think the baseline at receiver can survive on DraftKings right now. This DraftKings team is troubling for me. We're on the clock for Underdog here. 17 seconds. Rachaad White came all the way back. I really don't see an issue with just continuing to take Tampa Bay guys. There's really nobody else I feel like I'm missing out on here. Yeah, I'm going to go Rachaad White. No additions to that room. Positive talk in the offseason. Don't think I need RB5 with this kind of build I have with Henry, Kyron up top, Montgomery in the top 80 picks. Ramondre we also took as not necessarily a wanted click, but we took him. But I like getting a lot of Tampa Bay guys. I just think there's going to be a lot of ping-ponging games for them overall. Having guys around them at these positions as well that can hopefully deal with Rachaad White giving me probably a lot of 1 to 5 point weeks. But if Bucky gets hurt, Rachaad White's back out there. If they're playing from a behind game script where there's more pass protection needed, you're still probably getting Rachaad White out there. Rachaad White, I hated last year, as you guys might recall if you watched the streams. This year, though, we're back on it. And I think DraftKings timed me out on both picks. So that's good. We got Keenan Allen, who at some point has to sign somewhere and get PPR points. He's probably too cheap, but would not have been my preferred click necessarily. All right. This DraftKings is going to be fucking doing its own thing. I feel like I'm just letting AI draft for me on DraftKings is basically where we're at this point. This DK team's going to the finals. The Keenan Allen's really what's going to put it over the top. He will get a good landing spot. It's hard to make that click now, not knowing what it is. But what are you going to do? Adding another RB in here feels pretty good. We know that my Marshawn Lloyd takes last year paid off the opposite of well. In fact, my worst take relative to ownership last year was Marshawn Lloyd, as he killed a lot of teams that would have been a lot better based upon some of my other highest owned guys like Jaden Daniels and such, and Bucky Irving, of course. That said, for him this year, I think we can take the shot, just hoping that there's a little more upside there. Either way, though, I think he is probably your number 2 back. Nobody getting added in the draft for Green Bay. Definitely a positive for him. DraftKings is a mess. So look, I'm glad you guys could see it on screen. It's not just me going insane. We're on the clock here, and it's actually showing it, so that's a positive. We don't need more tight ends. We still need RB. Still need wide receiver desperately here. Yoshivas has been getting some good camp talk. I could live with him. DeAndre Hopkins maybe gets some touchdowns for Baltimore. We'll go that way. We'll get leverage against my drafters team that has a good Baltimore stacks with Andrews and Bateman and Derrick Henry. And we'll take shitty DeAndre Hopkins here. We got the old guys. Thank you, Joey. I got there. But Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins fleshing us out at wide receiver. Keenan Allen, honestly, probably would have been a click I would have considered taking anyway. Was actually thinking of taking Hopkins first and Allen second. Instead, we ended up flipping it with the auto draft on Allen. All right. Up on drafters now. Full clock. I got to give drafters credit here. Again, they're sponsoring the show, so obviously I'm going to show a little bit more for them naturally. When their shit comes up, I'm getting the alert in time, and I get to come here and actually get time to do it. So that's definitely a positive. All right. Could use more at receiver. Diami Brown, I think here. Still like Yoshivas, obviously kind of the same click anyway. But Diami Brown got money. Was brought in deliberately. All positive things. Hopkins, Keenan, Lockett. That's it. Room does not want us to have tight ends. I don't think any of the rooms I'm in want me to have anything right now. We have Zach Ertz would have been a click for me at tight end here because we need that second tight end. I think overstacking Tampa Bay at this point seems like not the... I mean, what the fuck? I guess I might as well just take Cade Otton. Locking down the entire Tampa Bay offense in this BBM draft for me. Probably not the wisest move. But David Njoku, Cade Otton here. Really wanted to get Zach Ertz on the way back at tight end. That's not going to happen. All right, we're not up yet on DraftKings. Jesus Christ. All right, I think we have time to read all the teams. So, on Underdog right now, my team, I think, is okay. Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy at QB, like that part. Derrick Henry, Kyron, David Montgomery, Ramondre, Rashad White. So this is the beginning of a very large Tampa Bay stack. Puka Nacua, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Juwan Jennings, Christian Kirk, Jalen McMillan as wide receiver. So we now have a 4-person Tampa Bay stack. And then David Njoku and Cade Otton, making it a 5-person Tampa Bay stack, which feels really aggressive, but I think Tampa Bay shares the ball pretty well. So I'm okay with it conceptually, even though that's definitely too many. All right. Not on the clock on DraftKings yet. They're all coming up in pretty fast time frames, though. Okay, so we got BBM up. Stafford still here. Mason Taylor, your Jets QB1. Or tight end 1, excuse me. Mason Taylor it is. Let's go there. DraftKings, let's see how they're going to fuck me here. All right, there we go. So we're moving picks. We got 3 coming up on drafters as well. For the record, I don't recommend this for any of you out there if you want to experience joy or get good teams in, but we're doing okay. Another RB, Justice Hill, who survived the draft pretty well as well. Let's get him at RB. Now we don't have to worry about DraftKings for a moment. Still got to get some more receivers in on DraftKings, though, for sure. All right, here on drafters with our Baltimore and Niners stack. You got Cole Kmet still hanging around. That's definitely not a fun click at this point. Arroyo, Jatavian Sanders. I'm going to go Jatavian Sanders here. I think the tight end 3 feels pretty good. Jatavian still should be in the hunt to be the top tight end for that team, I would hope. So that's that. Justice Hill, one of my favorite DK clicks. He was one of my favorite clicks last year, and frankly, he helped out a lot of teams I had in the big board and in general on the regular tournaments last year, so I am still a fan. On DraftKings, we have a 2-6-6-3, so we need some more receivers for sure. Tough pocket at receiver. Dontavian Wicks, I will just say out loud again, I know you have Savion Williams coming in. You have Matthew Golden coming in. Dontavian Wicks had a 30% target per route run rate last year. It's hard to do that and not matter in a team's ecosystem. Golden, I think, is going to immediately take away some Watson routes. He's also going to be, to me, the equivalent of Jaden Reed, but playing out wide, where it's not going to be a lot of targets, but when he has big games, he probably breaks slates and really does well. But I think Wicks is going to be your guy more often, just like game to game for the most part. All right, we have 6 RBs in here. Frankly, Ty Johnson, I think looks pretty good at this point. We're expecting that James Cook holdout. So our final team on draft, I guess this final version of the team on drafters, we'll finish out these other drafts. We got Lamar, Brock Purdy, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, Tyjae Spears, Tyler Algier, Will Shipley, Marshawn Lloyd, and Ty Johnson. So a lot of contingent value / RB2 value there, but I think it works overall as a room with Derrick Henry and Swift for what he looks like right now. At wide receiver, we have Neighbors, Rice, Ridley, Juwan Jennings, Pearsall, Bateman, Ayumanor, Diami Brown, and a tight end, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, Jatavian Sanders. I don't hate this team. I think I got QB right. I think I got the stacking right enough. I can live with that. All right, we are coming up on DraftKings. 10 picks. Underdog. Coming up in 2. Last 2 picks on here. Interesting Wicks take. I was out as there's just so much clutter in that room on Love. Yeah, I mean, look, I think really the thing for him is he's so cheap that you could take that shot. He was too cheap to me before. I think the worst possible outcome from NFL draft-wise did occur. And I think Savion is an okay player for sure, but it's hard to replicate just having that high of a target share with a QB. All right, we got Ayumanor here for another receiver. I'd be okay with that. I'm taking a lot of Ayumanor today. And I'll keep doing it. I think Ayumanor got a pretty good landing spot. Love Cam Ward. Don't think he's quite Jaden Daniels in my head. But I do think that he's a player that's going to make the guys around him look better. So taking Ayumanor, really a big shift for me here because I just didn't think he had the talent on his own pre-draft. Is Dobbs dead? I think Dobbs has a shot of being more dead because he's a very similar player to Savion Williams. And Savion's got better athletic profile, better size. He's like a physical kind of guy. Whereas Dobbs, I think, has just kind of gotten lucky with the role he's had. He also was pretty mercurial last year with that one point getting suspended for a game because of bitching about more targets. He did end up getting more targets on the home stretch. But Dobbs is another guy that Love has trusted a lot. So, like, I think Golden and Savion have a lot to overcome coming in because the guys who are there, in particular, Dobbs and Wicks have like established connections with Love that I think are pretty meaningful. LaFleur said Savion's still raw, but a chess piece. I mean, that's how I'd view him. I mean, at TCU, like they used him, gave him a lot of targets, but he really didn't do a lot with it. So I think they had the same thing there where it's like, you want to get him the ball, you hope he can do something with it. But if he doesn't, you're probably not surprised. That's how I expect the case to go. But I really think like Golden 1-to-1 takes all the Watson routes. Like Savion in the hunt to take Dobbs routes if things go poorly with Dobbs. That's my take. So it looks like we're going to get all these drafts done in 50 minutes, which is kind of crazy. I don't know. Should I do a second round here and really drive myself to the brink of insanity? I think we could pull it off. I could still be done in time, hopefully. All right, we're on the clock here. We want to get more receivers in. I still don't think Isaac Tesla, however you're going to pronounce that. I still don't think he's a great click, but I will take him here at this point when we need one more receiver in. Really, this team is my least favorite team here with the lightly stacked QB / unstacked Caleb Williams. But I think we survived the storm on DraftKings for the most part. All right. A 2-5-7-3 on here. I think the best team... Actually, when we're done here, let's look at all the teams, and you guys tell me which one is my best one. I think the Drafters one would be it. Who the fuck does this guy take? D. Johnson? Who the fuck is D. Johnson? Did you take Dearness Johnson or Duke Johnson? Oh, Deontay Johnson. Okay. I don't know where my brain went for a moment. I was like, who the fuck is D. Johnson? Really was racking it for myself. All right. One more receiver here I think would make sense. Do you think Yoshivas is getting good camp talk? And really at this point, I don't know. I do like Diami as well. I'm going to go Diami. Diami again to round out this underdog room. Where are we on DraftKings? Let me guess. I missed a click. No. Okay. All right. Let's finish out DraftKings. Seems like we're actually still on the clock here, surprisingly. Really unappealing spot here. Will Howard, I think, is kind of interesting. Not in this particular team, but in general. Arroyo, Kmet. We got Caleb Williams. Kmet's still going to get some work. They have a fat contract on him, even though Loveland's going to replace him for the most part. So that's that. All right, so final teams here. Give me your pick here. Which one's the best out of the three I drafted? Then we'll do one more round. We got an Underdog in Best Ball Mania, 30-second clock. We got Baker Mayfield and Brock Purdy at QB. At RB, we have Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams, David Montgomery, Ramondre Stevenson, along with Rashad White as well. A wide receiver, Puka Nacua, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Juwan Jennings. I like the stacked up parts. Christian Kirk getting big Tampa Bay stack here as well with Jalen McMillan, Alik Ayumanor, and Diami Brown is our last pick on here. Then at a tight end, we have David Njoku, K-Dot, and Mason Taylor. Hate the tight end room. Really think we need somebody with more upside. Taylor was a low target earning guy. He got drafted well. He's probably going to be the tight end one. And he's frankly, the Jets really don't have anything good at receiver besides Garrett Wilson. But the team's going to pass less. I'm okay with Mason Taylor. I just don't think he's as good as the ADPs could get to for him. On drafters, the team is Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy. Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, Tyjae Spears, Tyler Algier, Will Shipley, Marshawn Lloyd, Ty Johnson. The RB room is the one thing holding this team back. Henry and Swift I can live with, but we needed like one more legit guy. And I don't think Tyjae Spears is that. Malik Neighbors, Rashee Rice, Calvin Ridley, Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, Rashad Bateman, Alik Ayumanor, Diami Brown is our receiver room. And a tight end, Andrews, Pitts, and Sanders. I think I salvaged tight end pretty well in drafters. And on DraftKings, we got Mahomes, Robinson, Jordan Mason, Puka Nacua, Ladd McConkey, Terry McLaurin, George Kittle, Travis Hunter, Kelsey, Caleb Williams, Tucker Kraft. Just too many tight ends. I timed out way too many times on DraftKings. Ramondre Stevenson, Jaden Blue, Tank Bigsby, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Justice Hill, Dontavian Wicks, Isaac Tesla, and Cole Kmet. I think I salvaged okay. I don't love the teams. They're not going to be ones I write home about. The drafters one is not bad. I think I salvaged those well enough. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm getting kind of hot in here. Not saying that like in any sort of like I'm teasing something. I'm going to take off my shirt. But I'm going to go get a beer, and I am going to start up another round of drafts. So let's load them all up. You can play with me on Underdog here, 30-second clock. Let's confirm that. There we go. Drafters, we're going to do another round as well. Use promo code SPLASH on Drafters. I would not be doing this mental exercise today if it were not thanks to our friends at Drafters, being a presenting sponsor of the show this summer. So do check them out at drafters.com. Use the promo code SPLASH. And you're playing on there for $500K this year. It's a pretty big deal. Lots of money up top and also good tournaments, $20 price on there. It's the same thing you're paying on DraftKings as well. a little bit cheaper than BBM, so check that out. And let's go to DraftKings 2 and load this up. So we got 10 spots and a BBM 30-second clock. 10 spots on drafters as well with the usual shit on there. We want to go to the lobby. NFL. And of course, we're going to play our Madden stream next. You do get a ticket on DraftKings too, so I'll draft with the ticket. That's nice. This will be a free draft for me paying the rake on that last draft. All right. Ticket entered. So all these teams have been going or been started up here. I am going to grab a beer to make myself feel slightly less sweaty. And hopefully these won't fill in the meantime. 6 spots left. Stay tuned, guys. Wait, do I have the old thing here? Oh, here we go. There we go. That's it. All right. I will return momentarily. Hang out with Kitty the dog. She's asleep right here. All right. Oh, let's hop back in here. So 3 drafts at the same time, and they said, let's go another round. And I said, oh, I really don't want to. Feeling pretty sleepy here. That's that. 8 spots left on drafters. DraftKings. We are going live now. So feel free to fill these ones. That was chaotic. Well, strap in for another one. But cheers. Here's to Friday. This is a Stone Brewing Delicious IPA, which feels like a pretty bold claim to have in your beer, but nice branding. Like the color. Like the font, the typeface, for as much as that matters for beer. And let's do... Oh God. Should have put on the fan too, but I didn't. Let's do one more round here. This time on DraftKings, you're not going to get me. 8 spots here. Where's Stone Brewing? I don't actually know. I've seen them in a lot of places. Let's find out here. Stone Brewing. California. I thought it was California. But I used to get stoned a lot. I used to get stoned a lot, guys, back in California. But I used to get stoned a lot in the beer stores back when we were living out there. Didn't know it was California specific offhand, but makes sense. Not talking about that, but you could infer what you want. Just can't talk about it for legal stuff. Really wish these BBM rooms would fill faster. All right, so we got pick 2 on DraftKings here, so we'll see what we're gonna do. We got Robert Griffin III in here as well in pick 6, so hopefully he'll add some value. Not take my players. Though if you do, at this point, I probably won't notice, given how it went on DraftKings last time out. One thing I'll give DraftKings credit for, room filled pretty fast. And Jamar Chase here at pick 2, I'll give DraftKings credit for that as well. Might be my first share of Jamar Chase in any of these drafts. I've not gotten the 101s here. I've not been influencing very well in this first run of all the tournaments with the Millie Maker out on DraftKings, the Drafters main event, the Underdog BBM tournament out now. I also do want to max out the Schnauzer kind of tournaments this year as well in Underdog, just because I think I need to play for the most EV possible and do more volume besides just the big tournament. Because frankly, I was happy my results in the big board and BBM last year, but really the way you materialize any shot you have at you getting money off of best ball by answering as many tournaments as you can afford / you have the promotional credits to do with. So that's how it looks like for me. Play on drafters though, guys, 9 spots left. So you have plenty of time to get in there. And again, please do deposit on drafters. Check them out. Promo code SPLASH on drafters, $100 deposit match. And again, they are a site that has always had the customer interest in mind, the user experience in mind. And it's not just lip service like some other things you might have out there in other parts of gambling. So check it out for yourself. $100 deposit match on drafters using that promo code SPLASH, and a great site. And again, 500K up top and 2 years ago in the Drafters Big Tournament, I finished top 100, only put in like 25 entries that year. This past year, NFL Playoff Best Ball, I put in 3 entries on one stream, finished top 12 in one of their tournaments. I've had my biggest payouts on Drafters for the most part because of the fact that it's just easier to get up top. So we'll say for you guys out there, if you want to make your money go further, it's still very fun to draft on Underdog and still have the, the clout chasing you can do on there. Still fun on DraftKings if you win the big money, and it's easier to play on there because most of us are playing DFS on there as well. But for drafters, I'd say it's really good making time to get on there because your money will go further. A lot of free entry giveaways as well. We have some bonuses going on right now for putting in entries. It's a lot of good stuff on drafters for yourself if you want to get in there. And frankly, it'd be nice if you guys filled that room, but it is what it is. I'm going to be drafting until I have to go to dinner, guys. Please get in on drafters and BBM. They do have a lot of good rewards. They do a good job with that stuff. From what I've been told, the pick'em stuff is also soft on there too, relatively, but not my focus. I feel like maxing the Schnauzer scenes plus EV. I did drop a chart. What's the dude's name? Michael Dubner over at RotoViz wrote up a Google sheet, which basically calculates the expected value of all the main tournaments out there, which I thought was pretty helpful. Kind of also shows what you'd expect, that a lot of the biggest tournaments are not actually plus EV in terms of like, what it takes, how much money you're getting for theoretical EV for getting a finals entry in, that kind of stuff. But that was a helpful one. And I do think generally looking at that sheet, seems like a lot of the time boxed, cheaper entry tournaments have the most EV going for them. So Schnauzer to me, just being able to win 100K with like a 20 max, it's not a bad thing. All right. Is it still really 9 spots? Can somebody come in? I know we're all hanging out here, but please play on drafters at this point. Drafting, upcoming. Let's make sure we're actually in the room. All right, get in there, please. Get in on drafters. Bowers and McBride going back to back. Wonder if that's going to be a more common thing throughout the summer. Right now, a little bit of an ADP gap between them, at least on the other sites out there. I frankly think McBride, when he was cheaper, I was clicking to more than Bowers. Happy to get both at their ADPs, but if they become flat, I would honestly want to get 16% of both guys and just ride that out. And I think it'd be fair if they were right next to each other, to be honest. For Bowers, your risk is that you have more guys coming in there, having Genty taking away the potential to really be a red zone target hound, an end zone target hound. I think that's not great for him. For McBride, a lot of positive talk about Harrison so far. Apparently put on some muscle as well. Trying to make sure I don't miss this draft. But I have like no read on if it's how many people are in it. I would deduct a point for drafters user experience for this right now. So that's, if we're keeping score at home. Yeah, for McBride, I think that losing some share to Harrison certainly is in play. He also got the gigantic contract, though. Obviously now, Kittle's past him in terms of the tight end pay. But to get a big deal, and, that probably insulates him a little bit more from getting fully lapped by Harrison as a top target. They do have room for another target earner for sure. All right, we're on the clock here. Got A.J. Brown, Bucky Irving. Took Jamar Chase. I think pairing Chase and Irving to me is too tempting. A little bit of a fall for Brown, but I'm going to take Bucky here. I just like Bucky too much. Don't care if the price tag is up. 140 picks where I was taking him all the time last year. You just can't put up, and it's in my rankings, this exact blurb. You can't put up 1,500 yards, all-purpose yards in 1 year while in a timeshare where they didn't want to give you the deliberate work quite as much and then not be a top pick to me the next year. Like Bucky could be going at the 1-2 turn. I'd still probably take him there. We got another pick here. Irving and Chase on the team so far. Higgins went right before me too. Motherfucker. Don't love Tyreek or Jacobs. I can live with Lamar. Lamar again, as long as that click counted. So Lamar, Bucky, Irving, Jamar, Chase start. We're going to have to get some Baltimore guys later on, but I think it's a pretty fun start. I think we possibly have, I don't think it's the most likely for Bucky for the record, but possibly having QB1, RB1, wide receiver 1 on the team. I'm not going to be mad at that. Again, I have spots still available on drafters. How many I have, I don't know. That's that. Thank you for our old pal Emac from Stochastic. Congratulations on the new format. The oldest person ever live draft NFL best ball via 3 different sites on camera. Thank you, Emac, for giving me my flowers on that. I will still do individual drafts from time to time. I just wanted to get the concept across here that I'm independent. I could do a little bit of everything. I frankly could do that anyway before. But I really think it's important in best ball to be aware that there's more than one site out there, and I don't think the industry is doing a great job of that right now. So that's my part here. Still 2 spots on Underdog, though, and endless spots on Drafters. However many spots there are available on Drafters right now, I don't know. Oh, good news, guys. My passport got approved. My renewal finally went through. Thank God. Looks like there's still 3 spots left in this Drafters tournament, so if you want to get in there, you can. That is true. I am the first Asian person to draft simultaneously on all 3 platforms. The other Asian guys out there just don't like best ball enough or are too afraid to hop in. They're too busy. I can't do stereotypes. These are my people. Kind of enjoy going CMC McBride to flip the board a little. I'm not a CMC guy this year. I can get there at some point, but so far, I don't think I've clicked him probably more than 3 times. I don't think I clicked him really at all on the big board. I definitely haven't clicked him in BBM at all. I like other guys in that range. I took Genty over him reliably in the big board. I would still do that now. And frankly, the ADP is supporting it even more. I'm not seeing CMC this year, unfortunately. I think they've added in too many guys now. And I'm not like Jordan James is going to crush either, but there's concern points. All right. Have not missed a pick yet on DraftKings. It probably helps that it's the only site that filled. So I'm able to focus mostly on here. There's still 2 spots left in BBM 30-second clock and seemingly 3 spots left on Drafters if you want to play along there. Get the $100 deposit match with promo code SPLASH at drafters.com right now. And I've got a beer to help me through the DraftKings pain points. So we're all doing well here. See McBride move up to mid-second quite a bit, waiting for someone to take both at 12-13. Wouldn't shock me. I think especially when you get to the summer, you'll see it happen more. The real summer. Does show. So I saw it on the app. I didn't know it showed on the website, but that's good to know. Let's see. Okay. DraftKings telling me my pick is coming up on the mobile app. That's a positive. And our draft is starting for Drafters. Hooray. So I'm surprised that Drafters filled before BBM, but that's that. I got I am the KY with the Splash Play avatar as well. You could tell it's bootleg compared to mine. It's a little bit different in sizing for some reason. All right, on the clock here, seemingly actually on DraftKings. We got Burrow coming back. Jalen Hurts also here, but we have Lamar. I like Tet. I'm going to go Devontae Smith here. We made the bet on Lamar. I don't think we should take Joe Burrow here. I like Tet McMillan a lot. I think he's got one of the better landing spots overall for Carolina. All right, so Burrow's still here. That's fine. I think we got to take Zay at this point. I like Tet, but we got Lamar. If I didn't have Lamar, it would have been Burrow and Tet for me, I think, as the picks. But we have Lamar, so we're going to go Zay Flowers. So we got Lamar, Bucky Irving, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers is our top 3 at wide receiver. Bucky is our RB hero. I like that. I'm good with that start. One more spot in BBM. BBM taking forever, I think, because they have 2 clocks to choose from. Yeah, it's because it's splitting, basically, where before you would have had 12 people filing into the same room. Now you have 10 people filing into 2 different versions of the rooms. It's not great. I also do think, too, and I said it before, and I think it kind of showed with some of the early tournaments, I think all the sites are going to have a tougher time filling this year. Like, I know they talked about it a little bit on Lulz a couple of weeks ago, but tournaments not growing is not a positive. I think, in general, look, I don't want to talk too much about it because I've said enough already. I think they've done a bad job marketing some things here in general as well. I think you're going to see all the tournaments have a harder time filling. And I would say for DraftKings and Drafters, at the very least, what they're doing is giving you a lot of free stuff. You really don't get much free stuff from Underdog. And I think that's a little bit of the thing there. But hey, very influential 101 for me here in BBM. Our guy Hateful Huck in the 4-hole. Anybody else we know? Other names I know here. In New York, not helping either. That's true. Losing New York, not great. BBM can't realistically get any bigger for what it's worth. All right, fair enough. Look, I think they have smart people working there on the draft game side in particular. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of arrogance personally, just from what I saw myself in recent months. But I think that was the case I felt last year too. Just didn't say it out loud because you're not really supposed to say that. I think there's a lot of like comfort with what is built, and I think there should be more attention to what you can do and people's complaints and stuff, and also educating the audience more. I think would be helpful because I think the audience has unrealistic expectations right now a lot of the time. But that's how I feel about it. But I hopefully make that clear on stream. We got Chase, Saquon, Bijan. We got Jamar in another draft. All right, fine. Just Jamar drafts everywhere. Why not? See how we do it in different spots. We had Neighbors drafts, Neighbors and Puka drafts last time. Today we'll have Jamar Chase drafts this time. People that have been pointing out the contraction of best ball have only many apologies owed rather. I don't know who you're talking about who's pointed it out, but I was feeling it last year. I mean, I think there's too much fragmentation of it. I also think, candidly, I think that content creators overall are not helping it out because everybody's kind of working against each other by taking the views and spreading them amongst a bunch of different people, as opposed to like, let's say if you had 5 of your top 15 content creators working together and all their content was in one place, I think that would look different. Just trying to make sure. Am I getting fucking timed out here? Okay, not yet. It's my pick on drafters as well. Right, Brock Bowers here. We're getting the Vegas double up top with Genty and Bowers. On DraftKings, we are trying really hard to not get timed out. We got Travion here as RB2 is kind of fun. Yeah, Judy, Debo, I'm okay with, but I don't need him. Let's go Travion Henderson here. But I know from what I saw last year on social media in particular, I think a lot of people were really upset about losing in best ball. And I think that's something that, why are people missing something? Pick 74 and Debo's still here. Why are they passing up these guys? I do like Jennings more than Debo, but the price tag on DraftKings is more of a Debo price tag. So let's go Debo here as our wide receiver 4. So it's a Lamar, Bucky Irving, Travion Henderson start with Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, and Debo Samuel. Pretty big ADP value because you're in the room and you hate Debo. Fair enough. I think Debo's going to get touchdowns. I know it's not the most fun click in the world. I know he was really disappointing for the Niners last year. He's a perfect kind of player for a Cliff Kingsbury offense that doesn't want to actually push it downfield. Some of the targets that Terry McLaurin got last year were just like bullshit slants, flanker route kind of stuff that frankly will go to Debo really easily this year. I think Debo's lost a lot of his juice, but I don't think he's dead. Good point. It is DraftKings. Don't overthink it. The promos are horrible. Really no reward system at all. I agree. It's been things I've vocalized before, and frankly, redeposit stuff too. None of the sites really want to do. I think that's an important one you could do if you really wanted to engage audiences. There's a lot of things you could do to make it better if the companies out there really cared to, but they make their money. There's enough enthusiasm usually. I think the only time you'll see things actually be meaningfully fixed or changed or tweaked or whatever is if the tournaments don't fill, and tournaments are always going to fill. So, yeah. They just want you to play pick'ems. And that's the reality of all the sites. They just want you to play pick'ems anyway. We got Genty and Bowers here. Tyreek and DJ Moore, not my favorite 2 wide receiver clicks. I do still like Kyron. I'm going to do a weird build here. I think a little more drafters friendly to be able to pass wide receiver earlier on here, but we got Genty and Kyron with Bowers. No receiver through 3 rounds. See what we can do with that. Here on DraftKings, we need to get tight end going. RB's looking okay, even though I do have a lot of qualms about Travion Henderson. On Underdog here, it says 21 picks away, but we are in fact up in 3 picks. So let's keep an eye on this board here. Jamar Chase for me in this room. No Jamar Chase on drafters. Yes, Jamar Chase on DraftKings currently for me. With these three drafts going at the same time. I needed more of a refractory period between my 2 best ball site threesomes. I will say that. On the clock here for back-to-back picks. All right, we got T. Higgins here. Easy click. Josh Jacobs, not for me an easy click. I kind of prefer Garrett Wilson to JSN. I think that's it for me. Higgins. Garrett Wilson, not a Josh Jacobs guy in year 2. I think he got there last year in large part because Marshawn Lloyd was not able to stay healthy, wasn't able to get out there. I think this year they're going to take work away from Jacobs because they can't give him that same volume, I think, in year 2. All right, we got Tracy here, looks okay. Loveland, I like more than Warren at this point. I'm going to go Loveland here. On the clock, on drafters as well. Hampton, oh, fuck, this is an interesting pick. Unstack Jaden. Punt wide receiver one more round. Sure, let's have some fun on drafters. We're hating wide receivers on drafters today. We got Jaden Daniels, Ashton Jency, Kyron Williams, Brock Bowers. Fun start. Here on DraftKings, we're on the clock again. God. All right. Scattaboo, I like a lot more that we have a landing spot. Let's do that. Mark Andrews would have been a good click as well. Could have been pretty much done at tight end at that point. But we'll fade Andrews, maybe get Likely later on. So the team on DraftKings right now, Lamar, Bucky Irving, Travion Henderson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, Colson Loveland at tight end, Deebo Samuel, and Cam Scattaboo here, who I think got a much better landing spot. I was talking about Scattaboo many times throughout the offseason. Felt like it wasn't the most likely. We got that Bucky Irving kind of landing spot where you have to overcome just one shitty player to give a team that basically a thing they wanted anyway. Tampa Bay talked a lot last offseason about wanting more shiftiness, more avoided tackles, things that basically they weren't getting from Rachaad White. For this year, for these guys, I think that with Scattaboo, you're getting a player coming in who adds similar dynamics to what Tyrone Tracy has on paper, but he's a more fleshed out running back. Tracy, former wide receiver. Scattaboo is like, to me, just a pure runner in terms of how he approaches things. I like Scattaboo enough here. Really don't want him to get higher ADP wise. I don't want him to get top 100, but I would chase him up to where Tyrone Tracy is, I think, and treat it as an either or click because Scattaboo was efficiently one of the most efficient running backs in college football last year. And his numbers basically, to me, looked a lot like Bucky Irving's. It's just I didn't trust the landing spot being there. I cannot add another layer on. It is so hot in here. It's like 80 degrees, 85 degrees, I think, out today here in the area. So I'm fucking dying. For some reason, I'm just not getting good airflow in the basement so far this year. And I have no idea why that would be. So the fun thing's owning a house. I'll have to figure out at some point. On drafters, we desperately need receivers. Got time on DraftKings. Let's see what JJJJTT does here. As I lightly fan myself with my shirt. Take a shower before I go to dinner. Jesus. It's hard work here doing drafts. Chris Godwin feels like an appropriate first receiver off the board. I know people are a little bit down on the additions there, worried about Igbuka and all that. For me, Godwin's still a very safe click between pick 50 and 60, especially when you are a little bit DOA when it comes to wide receivers. So we'll go Chris Godwin there. And 7 picks to go on drafters. About 8 clicks to go here, 9 clicks to go on Underdog, even though it says 22. Very helpful. And DraftKings coming up in 5 picks. Okay, shit. It's all coming up at the same time. We're doing better this time out, though. I think I just need to get the mental reps down if I'm going to do 3 at once. Nice. as if the thumbnail's not suggestive enough. I have to really put the entendre over the top. All right. Oh, so much convergence. So much convergence. All right. Pick coming up on DraftKings. I got a little more time on BBM. Thank God for Airsoft Fatty here. Burning the clock. Thank you, Tyler. Other Tyler was here before as well. So you get the plug for the Typeful Tower stream these guys are doing on the Fantasy Sanctuary channel, I believe, last night. So check out Tyler's streams. Appreciate him being here as always. One of the guys working hard in the best ball space. I feel like a lot of the space getting fat and lazy, me included. But some of the guys out there still working hard, and Tyler definitely one of those guys. So check out the Fantasy Sanctuary channel and all Tyler's stuff that he tweets out at Emo Cowboy. One of the founding members here of the Squirt Squad. We're on the clock here. Najee Harris still falling. Oh, God, we need a receiver. I'm going to go Harris here. I'm going to time out on drafters if I don't click over here. RJ Harvey, Chris Olave. Olave for me. Oh, my God. All right. Underdog. Pick coming up here. Jesus Christ. I got you the compliments in while worrying about all my picks coming up at the same time. So that's how much I care about our guy Tyler. We got 2 picks coming up on Underdog here. We got Chase, Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Joe Burrow pushed here. Easy just to take him and call it a day. And I do think we're going to do that with one of the picks. Not going to get too cute. Let's do that. Kittle at tight end doesn't feel bad. Zay falling a little bit here. Let's do that as well. 0 RB start. Burrow double with Zay Flowers and Garrett Wilson. Chase and Higgins as well. On DraftKings, I just missed my pick. And we got Najee Harris. So we got Trey Harris, Najee Harris on DraftKings. I can live with Najee at pick whatever this was. Najee at pick 122. That's not bad. That's almost 30 spots of CLV here. Obviously, Najee is falling a huge amount, so that's not a surprise there. But Najee Harris, pick 122, added to the team here. So DraftKings team so far, let's give it a read. And we'll get to the chats as well. We got Lamar and Bucky Irving, Travion Henderson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, Colston Loveland, Deebo Samuel, Cam Scadaboo, Trey Harris, Najee Harris, both the Chargers Harrises. Oh, they're going to be T. Harrison and Harris on the team. That's fun. For drafters, the team right now is Jaden Daniels, Ashton Genty, Kyron Williams, Chris Godwin, Chris Olave, double Chris's. Hey, I'm Chris too. That works. And Brock Bowers at tight end. And on Underdog, we have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers. ETR has Burrow at like 68. I don't really care. you can push him, I think, and that's probably the logic a little bit. He shouldn't go ahead of Jalen Hurts. I'll agree with that in terms of just a general rule of thumb. But if I don't have one of Devontae or AJ Brown, I'm not the craziest about taking Jalen Hurts, especially when I have Cincinnati double. And for BBM, I just don't really feel like I'm getting Burrow pushed back too often. I know our guy Tyler tweeted that out, was like trying to push around Burrow. I don't think you're getting it that often in rooms currently, so I'm cool taking him here. But previous years, I would have tried to push Burrow to where they have him ranked, whatever that's worth. All right, QB, 2 RBs, 2 wide receivers here. Fortunately, Debo went already to I am the KY, so I cannot stack him up with Debo. Or Jaden Daniels, I cannot stack up with Debo. Need a receiver, though. Pickens here seems like he will now be coming back to Pittsburgh now that he survived the draft. I'll go Pickens. We got Jaden Daniels, Ashton Genty, Kyron Williams, Chris Godwin, Chris Olave, George Pickens, and tight end Brock Bowers. So pretty well-balanced team so far, despite the 2 early RBs on there. Underdog, I am... What? Wait a minute. Okay, the Underdog, I'm not on the clock. Thank God. BBM guy got it in our Badge Bros guest stream, but not happening much till ranks at ADP fall. Could take a month or more. That's probably fair. I just, honestly, last year pushing QB was so hard, and everybody in the chats was like always trying to get me to take QBs. Frankly, I got sniped the QB a bunch last year. I don't know how much actually mattered for my advance rate when it ended up being there, because I feel like my advance rates and final seams were not that far off anyway, where they would have been if I had allowed myself to take QBs earlier on and avoid getting sniped. But I do think that people are just a lot more comfortable with unstacked QB. We were talking about in the Discord a little bit. The lack of stacking has been my observations this year so far. It's like people just stacking less. I think they saw the winners last year and just thought like, oh, anything can win, and like didn't take away that you should still have correlation and things like that. That's my pet theory. It doesn't have to be everybody's. We got Ayuk here, Agbuka here, Downs here. Ayuk, a guy who frankly is also a pup list candidate potentially, but a little bit of an ADP discount. Really not a lot of value in this room either. I'll go Ayuk for wide receiver 4. I think you can withstand him missing time with Pickens, Olave, and Godwin, hopefully. But who knows? Push more in small contests, maybe less on big ones. I think that's fair. The general populace, the chalk is to take the QBs and just snipe left and right, I think, generally. Especially in the 20-second clocks. Would you almost rather Rudolph over Rodgers for Steelers wide receiver, or Steelers QBs, you mean? Oh, you mean for the receivers themselves? I think Rudolph, the one thing that Rudolph showed in his career, and frankly, he showed it now at two different spots. He can feed a boundary X receiver pretty well. Calvin Ridley had his best days last year with Rudolph. Pickens back a couple of years ago with Rudolph starting down the home stretch when they made the playoffs. Like that was all Rudolph feeding him. So I think he can do what they want him to do well. The issue is like, I think Will Howard, like they should start him. Like, frankly, he's got more talent. He was actually really efficient last year for OSU. I think he can do the things that Rudolph does and have a lot more higher ceiling. But they trust Rudolph a lot more. So that's sort of the trade-off. We got Burrow, the Cincinnati double, Wilson and Zay Flowers here. I think Judkins feels, honestly, I think we're going two rookies here. Going two AFC North rookies, Judkins and Caleb Johnson. Both guys, I think, I wouldn't say they got nut runouts, but I think got two of their better outcomes and draft capital situations. And frankly, they could end up being part of an AFC North bring back for my Cincinnati double. So we're going to go through here. We're on the clock here as well. I honestly don't even know what I fucking have at this point. I'm going to go Cam Ward. I don't think I have a second QB. So let's go Cam Ward as QB2 here. Seems like I autoed Bateman at some point as well. So I guess thanks to DraftKings for giving me a good auto. But we got here on DraftKings a 2-4-6-1 build. Cam Ward, our second QB with Lamar. I can live with that. Stack's not going to be good, but I can live with that. Rudolph will be as slow as Arthur wants to be. I'll take the much better passer. I really don't think that Rodgers or Rudolph would personally have a ton of fantasy upside themselves in that offense. But I think they can create value for Pickens and Metcalf. Freiermuth to a lesser extent. Roman Wilson to the least extent. Steelers seem like they should make a low ball offer for Cousins if his health checks out. I think they're really comfortable with Mason Rudolph is really the big issue there. Like, and if you're okay with your cheap QB here and you could spend capital other places, you know, on the interior, on defense, the secondary, whatever you want to do, traditional Steelers things that they want to spend money on, I think that's a logical thing to do for them. But Cousins seemingly just going to be comfortable going back as the backup to Atlanta and playing if something goes down poorly with Penix, which I get as well. All right, so we need something here. RB's fallen a little bit with Najee Harris again. Wide receiver Jaden Higgins, wide receiver 5. Really don't love Higgins because I do think he's pretty duplicative of what Nico Collins does. And Jalen Noel is just going to be blocked by Kirk. Both rookie additions to me don't make the most sense for Houston, to be honest, especially for a team that I don't expect to be incredibly explosive. I think they're going to run the ball. I think they're going to give Mixon a lot of touches. I think they're going to be targeting a little bit more low ADOT stuff. You know, I'm not crazy about what Houston's done. I like the individual players a lot. Like Higgins, I think actually has a good amount of talent. If he had been the guy going to Carolina, I would have been like wheels up for Jaden Higgins, much like for Tet. But going to Houston, I don't know what the role is. I think it's like better version of Xavier Hutchinson and what he played last year, getting, 40 routes a game at times. And that could be something fantasy wise, but I don't think it's guaranteed to be something. So that's my pros and cons for Jaden Higgins. Problem with Cousins is the contract. Atlanta wants any team take a large chunk of it on, as they should. I mean, I think for Atlanta, especially the way they drafted and what they tried to give the logic as being for taking Penix in the first place, like you took him because you wanted to be safe no matter what and not kill the team if they get hurt or whatever. If the QB gets hurt, you don't want the team to be bad. Nick Chubb at pick 160 is just a dumb shit pick. Like, I don't care where he goes at this point. You got to know where he's going before that's the case. Trey Benson right behind him, I think, is a good click. They've been pretty transparent about wanting to get a 50-50 timeshare going for Arizona. All right, we got Bo Nix, Jordan Mason, Brock Purdy here. I think at this point, Bo Nix is too cheap. For a drafters format, total points over the course of a season, we got an unstacked Jaden Daniels. Let's add on top an unstacked Bo Nix. So Jaden and Bo Nix here, two guys I liked a lot at much cheaper price tags. Now we are getting them at their normal ones. And I am on the clock here. Fuck. 2-4-6-1. Need another tight end. But could use an RB. Bigsby again for me here. On the clock on Underdog as well. Fuck. Tyrone Tracy, one click. That count? Okay, Tyrone Tracy did count. We've only got 4 receivers. Gonna have to get that 5th one later on, I think. Fuck. I think Brian Robinson again. If we had any Chicago stuff, I consider Caleb Williams here. Do like the Ben Johnson glow up coming his way. We got a 1-4-4-0 build right now on Underdog BBM draft here, 30-second clock. Joe Burrow, Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Johnson. So our rookie RBs, guys, can hopefully get us through the beginning part of the year. Tyrone Tracy and Brian Robinson behind them. Wide receiver Chase Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers. I like all those guys. Did I miss a click on DraftKings? I did miss a click on DraftKings, and I got Dylan Sampson here. So my 6th RB, Dylan Sampson from Cleveland. If I'm going to get Judkins in one draft on Underdog, getting a draft pick for Sampson here feels okay. So I can live with that as it is. So, all right. We're coming up with a pick on drafters. Oh, fuck. All right. Deep breaths. We can get through this. Wish they Wildly drafted Marks over Neil, Giddens, Hunter, Gordon, Wild. Yeah, Marks has no juice at all. I mean, like, when I say that, I don't really cape for USC players. Like, I actually come at them, I think, with a more quizzical eye. I'm just like, I want to see these guys be really good and everything, and I don't want to have my personal biases come in. Jordan Addison was one guy I kind of critiqued a little more than I should have, perhaps. But yeah, like, I think that for them, you know, Woody Marks is just not a guy that has anything special at all. And he's, you know, even as a USC guy, I just can't defend him really. Keon Coleman being here, I think would be a good wide receiver 6. I mean, look, we took Jency and Kyron. I think we can keep punting RB a little bit more. So Keon Coleman, because I don't feel great about the Ayuk, Jaden Higgins little grouping here. Frankly, Pickens as well. I've got my questions about in that offense. So we're going to go that way instead. Oh, God. All right. Round 10 here on BBM. Round 11 here on Drafters ending now. We're going to be in round 12. On DraftKings, we are in round 16 out of 20. So this one filled first will be done first here. Oh, God. 3 picks coming up on Drafters. Hard to do. Next time you draft Samson, what is the song? I totally forgot that. I haven't watched Half Baked in years, but Samson does have the good weed. And Samson was also the bad guy in Tales from the Hood. He was the devil in that movie. So Samson, 2 notable roles in the 90s that were formative for me. All right. So now I'm like, now I'm not on the clock anywhere, and I'm my brain can actually slow down, and I'm too amped up from having to fucking chase these tabs every single time out. We got Ramondre, Javonte, Bashal Tootin here. Given the fact that we've got Jency and Kyron, I think this is where we take the big swing and go Tootin. So that's it. I want to talk to Samson. That is absolutely the song. You guys know. So Bashal Tootin here with Jency and Kyron. Definitely younger RB room overall with the rookie 3rd-year guy. Well, no, Kyron's a 4th-year guy. So 2 rookies and a 4th-year guy. Kyron should be hitting his prime now, theoretically. Love Tales from the Hood. I love any anthology horror movies where they have like the 3 different, 15, 20-minute segments. Those always hit for me. Creep Show, another good one, though much whiter for sure. What are the other ones? Obviously, Tales from the Crypt as a show is always a good one. All right, guys, if you get any value of this video, even if you don't, please do show some love if you can. Oh, I think I have a pick coming up. All right, coming up in 2. There we go. Show some love if you can. Subscribe down below. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Going to be dealing with the haters for probably the entire summer because a bunch of idiots on Twitter got angry about something they didn't know about or understand. So please help me out. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. It all goes a long way to fight off morons being morons, as always the case on the internet for most people, myself especially. Sometimes I'm the moron. In this case, I think less so. All right, 2661. We need more at tight end. We do need a player with Cam Ward, but I'm going to take Palmer first here. I think Palmer is a much better talent, much better situation. Buffalo keeps signing the same kind of receiver. They signed Khalil Shakir to the new deal. They add on Josh Palmer on top. They add on Elijah Moore on top of that. Really all the same dude. So Keon Coleman's your really one unique guy. But, Palmer, I think, works at his price tag here. We got Ayumanor coming back. I guess I'll take the shot on him again. Stacking him up with Cam Ward here as my QB2. I had nobody with Cam Ward yet, so Cam Ward stacked up with Ayumanor on DraftKings. Coming up on BBM here, even though it says 14 picks away. So let's go over here now. Christian Kirk hanging around. We get the Baltimore stack without the QB here. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Rashad Bateman, you are my pick. My first pick here. And we got the back-to-back on the turn. So 2 Baltimore guys, 2 Cincinnati guys, stacked up with Joe Burrow. Need the 5th RB. Need a tight end. I'm going to go Christian Kirk here. Take the 6th receiver to round that out. We're up on drafters. I think I might be up on DraftKings as well. Oh, this is difficult. Did I miss a pick? Really wish they could come up at different times. Okay, no, I didn't miss a pick. Thank God. Up on drafters now. 17 seconds left. We're good at QB. Need another RB. Trey Benson is here as well. 14 picks more expensive than he is on DraftKings, I'll note. We'll take Trey Benson here as our 4th RB. So Genty, Kyron, Bashal Tootin, and Trey Benson. I think 2 big stabs with our hopefully highly projected guys, Genty and Kyron up top. I like that build. Let's give all the teams a read here. So my drafters team right now, frankly, 2 unstacked QBs doesn't feel great, though they both run enough that I think we're okay. Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix at QB. At RB, Ashton Genty, Kyron Williams, Bashal Tootin, Trey Benson. At wide receiver, Chris Godwin, Chris Olave, George Pickens, Brandon Ayuk, Jaden Higgins, and Keon Coleman. And a tight end, Brock Bowers. Back half of the wide receiver room doesn't make me feel great. We obviously sacrificed a little bit to take the RBs up top as well. That's not a bad team. Here on DraftKings, we have Lamar stacked up with, well, not stacked up. Lamar with Bucky Irving, Travion Henderson. So 2 early RB picks here. Jamar Chase, again on this team. Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, Colston Loveland, Deebo Samuel, Cam Scatterbu, Trey Harris, Najee Harris, 30 picks after ADP. Rashad Bateman, Cam Ward, Tank Bigsby, Dylan Sampson, Josh Palmer, and Alik Ayamanor. So wide receiver room could be better at wide receiver 4/5, I think. RB room could be a little better at RB6 than Sampson. But took Judkins in one room, take Sampson in another. I still think that makes sense for how I'd like to play things. We got Kyle Pitts and Zach Ertz here. Ertz stacks up with our Jaden Daniels, so let's actually get a stack going. Zach Ertz, come on down. On our drafters team. Oh, daddy. All right. We're building okay teams. This is a better one. So actually get shit-faced tonight. Yeah, it's Friday. Why wouldn't you? As long as you're not getting shit-faced every night, sure. You know better than I do. Drafting a clean one. Robert Griffin III in his spot. What is he doing? I've got a pick coming up again. We got another pick coming up here. Still need a second tight end. I mean, Higbee definitely going to be getting squeezed by bringing in Terrence Ferguson. Juwan Johnson got his big deal. Then now he's going to have Tyler Shuck as his QB, which I would say Tyler sucks. But I will go Juwan Johnson here. Tight ends are rookie QB's best friend, and didn't talk about it in the stream, but I did put it in my rankings for the update for you guys who out there. Oh God, you guys out there who are a paying member, join the Squirt Squad tier if you want to check out my rankings. Squirt Squad VIP tier if you want an exportable version to use on DraftKings and soon Underdog. Actually, to use on Underdog and soon DraftKings and Drafters. That'll be coming out next week, but it is available for BBM right now, along with a bunch of blurbs on every player. But I'd written up that situation today, and I think that for. I was talking about for Juwan Johnson and Shah, like Shah, Nick Underhill thinks is an 80% chance to start at the beginning of the year. I don't think it's a great thing for Chris Olave, for Rashid Shaheed, for Juwan Johnson that Shah is going to be starting, but Shah should probably be a top 200 pick if he's going to get the starting job and to spend day 2 draft capital on him. Derek Carr, Underhill also thinks not likely to come back to New Orleans at all. So there's a lot of stuff for Shah that's positive. The issue is like he's the least accurate QB in the class. I think his numbers look really shitty playing at Louisville last year, but he got drafted. Kellen Moore's the coach. Unfortunately, that stuff matters. So for Juwan Johnson, I think he's probably a good click still, and Olave I'll still take. They got to trust the coaching here and who they picked, but I think Shah, like they should have picked Dylan Gabriel over Shah. They should have picked Shador over Shah. Maybe controversial. We're still on the clock here on drafters. I think Braylon Allen is a clear tier break amongst this group. We need more at tight end still, more at wide receiver. There's nothing I need right now. Braylon Allen to me, tier break for sure. We've already seen the coach speak in the offseason about Braylon Allen being a player that is going to be in the mix for a role. They don't like Breece Hall very much, almost traded him. Breece Hall was reacting kind of like a little bitch on social media about the chance of him being traded as well. Seems like he actually might want to get out of the Jets situation as well. So for Braylon Allen, he's undervalued for sure. We just timed out on Underdog because it didn't fucking tell me on the tab that I was up. Unstacked Trevor Lawrence here. Great. Definitely a good tight end pocket. Guess we'll take Isaiah Likely here. Why not? Fucking unstacked Trevor Lawrence, not making me very happy. But Isaiah Likely, first tight end off the board here, 7-pick ADP discount. Timed out on Trevor Lawrence. Let's try to not time out on these other sites that I'm also going to time out on. Round 20 pick here on DraftKings feels like a tight end. Take Harold Fannin here for a shot. Got better draft capital than I would have thought. We're up on drafters as well. Sorry, guys. I am being overwhelmed by the clicks at this point. Jalen Royals, Wicks. Yeah, Royals, I think, is the click here. Royals wide receiver 7 was one of my favorite rookies pre-draft. Unfortunately, just didn't get the draft capital. Ended up getting a nice landing spot going to Kansas City, where he'll hopefully fill in for Rashee Rice. As much as that needs to be the case, Rashee Rice could start the year in the PUP list, could also be suspended, though that seems less likely now based on some of the legal guys on Twitter. Drew Davenport on Twitter in particular, who's been one of the guys that is usually right there. But yeah, that's where I'm feeling about those guys right now. All right, so for DraftKings, the final team here, we got Lamar, Bucky Irving, Travion Henderson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, Colston Loveland, Deebo Samuel, Cam Skattebo, both the Chargers Harrises, Trey Harris and Najee, Rashad Bateman stacked up, Cam Ward, Tank Bigsby, Samson, Josh Palmer, Ayumanor, Shador Sanders snuck into this team somehow, but we stacked them up with Harold Fannin, and we got Juwan Johnson. I didn't even see Shador get on this team, so that's a fun revelation to have here. A DraftKings team done. So we are down to 2 drafts here. Strange and Miami, if we can get him. We can get him. People like Strange, and he's coming up soon, so we'll see what we get. Strange held off the biggest threats, though, for his opportunity. Really thought they were live to take Ty Warren. Instead, they traded up and got Hunter. So Warren on that team would have been phenomenal. Really, I like Travis Hunter. I would have really preferred to get a tight end in there and let Brian Thomas do what he was doing with Mac Jones, but hopefully a better version of it, and feed him 10 targets a game. When you add Travis Hunter in, and it seems like the intent, and we talked about this on stream on Sunday, we did our first post-draft stream on drafters last weekend. Do you think that with them putting Hunter at receiver more, I think it does lower the ceiling a little bit for Brian Thomas, probably the middle outcome as well. But I think if you had Ty Warren on that team, or Tyler Warren on that team, he would just take some short targets, do some Brock Bowers after the catch stuff with it as best he can, and wouldn't really interfere with what Brian Thomas does. But like for Travis Hunter, he's going to be playing outside receiver. He's good. I mean, he played really well outside in Colorado. I think you're really upsetting the pie more than they needed to. All right, so we got a good amount of receivers here, but need more. Mechie being rumored to be cut already. Diami Brown here looks okay. Really don't think we need to add more at RB at this point. So I'm taking Diami Brown. Diami Brown has been talked about by the coaching staff in the front office as a player that they want to have play well this year. And points as well during quotes where they haven't mentioned Gabe Davis at all. So a good sign for Diami Brown, who was also this offense's first acquisition this offseason. Certainly adding in Hunter is not good for him, but Diami Brown is the kind of guy where like, he did well getting fed the ball down the home stretch by Washington last year when they had nobody else left, when Noah Brown was hurt and all that. But he's better off probably just being a guy that spikes occasionally and has getting his biggest opportunity because of other guys being covered well, like Brian Thomas, like Travis Hunter. So I still like Diami Brown. He was obviously a better click, though, before we got Travis Hunter coming in. Not sure it matters this early, but 9 rounds of ADP value on a stream draft feels nice. Oh, is that what you got? Good. I mean, good for you. I agree that ADP doesn't matter that much at this point, especially with the stuff still moving around in real time. But getting value is better than not getting value. I think people need to realize that for sure. All right, picks coming up here on Underdog. Dylan Sampson on the board here as well. Braylon Allen on the board here as well. I do like those guys. We can frankly cover the moon with Washington running back touchdowns, and I think that's appealing. Eckler and Brian Robinson are going to score their touchdowns differently. Still contingent value for both guys if the other guy's out. So Eckler is one click, and I prefer Braylon Allen, especially when I already have Quinshon Judkins. So I'm going to go Braylon Allen here. We need to make it up at tight end still with only Isaiah Likely, but I think we're good at RB and mostly good at receiver here. Need one more on top there. So a 2-6-6-1 build on Underdog right now in this BBM draft with a 30-second clock. We got Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence at RB, Judkins, Caleb Johnson, 2 rookies up top, Tyrone Tracy, Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler, and Braylon Allen. Not a great projection RB room looking at it in its totality. At receiver, Jamar Chase, Higgins, Wilson, Zay Flowers, Bateman, and Kirk. And at tight end, Isaiah Likely. And we're on the clock here on Drafters one more time. I think we could take whatever we want here, really. Third tight end, Juwan Johnson. Sure. Would like to get somebody stacked up with Bo Nix here, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Drafters team right now, Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. At RB, Ashton Genty, Kyron Williams, Bashal Tootin, Trey Benson, and Braylon Allen. At receiver, we got Chris Godwin, Chris Olave, George Pickens, Brandon Ayuk, Jaden Higgins, Keon Coleman, Jalen Royals, and Diami Brown here. And a tight end, Bowers, Ertz, Juwan Johnson are the clicks. Surprised I didn't get Bretton Strange back there. He went only a couple picks out of ADP, though. But it would have been definitely helpful to get Bretton Strange with our auto-drafted Trevor Lawrence. Don't hate this team. This RB room, though, like if Judkins and Caleb Johnson, let's say Jerome Ford holds onto the job early, Caleb Johnson fucks up, we get more Jalen Warren and whatever RB they pick up off the scrap heap for Pittsburgh. Tyrone Tracy loses work to Scadaboo. It's entirely possible that the Washington RBs and Braylon Allen have to carry this room for parts of the year. I don't really love that. Why isn't Noah Brown viable on DK and drafters around 20? Because he's a free agent, and I believe, and he's hurt. Oops, I just spilled beer on my keyboard. Doing great here. Let's see. Noah Brown. I'm pretty sure he's a free agent. Yeah. No, he's still under contract. I mean, they've added a lot of guys there. I guess he could still take shots. I thought he was a free agent, to be honest. So that's on me. But he's not a great click at this point. I mean, they did add one rookie in. You're adding Debo in as well, who's just a different player at this point. Getting volume, getting force volume as well for that team. So I think for Noah Brown, the situation's not really the same. But for round 20, I mean, round 20, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Spilled some on my body, Spags. Thank you for that. Yeah, I prefer not to ruin my my keyboard here, so I don't have to pay for a new one. But I only got a little bit. I don't keep paper towels in here because I never really have anything I spill. It's on me. Oh, was he re-signed? Oh, okay. New one-year deal. All right, cool. And you guys got me on that. It's good to see him come back, but it's so low money, though. And again, you're adding Debo and you're adding rookies, low draft capital rookies, but you're still adding bodies in there. It's not a great scene for Noah Brown, but he was good last year. And getting away Diami is really the biggest issue for him. Besides, now having Debo. Nick Chubb goes 223 here. So yeah, you probably shouldn't take him and pick 160 on other platforms. We got 2 more picks coming up. Feeling pretty good at every position at this point. Oh no. Let's get Vele. Let's get something stacked up with Bo Nix. Devon Vele here. Not a player I'm going to click a lot, but if I have an unstacked Bo Nix, and we're in the last few rounds of a 20-round draft, Devon Vele in play. Pat Bryant coming in there, I think, is a guy who's going to compete more so for Cortland Sutton opportunity. If Cortland Sutton, in particular, if he forces his way out of town, they can't agree to a new deal there. But I do think for Devon Vele, he was clearly liked a lot by the coaching staff last year. Adding more bodies in, not good for him. I do think Troy Franklin will be better this year as well. But I could take Vele here and live with it. Oh, God. So we have 9 receivers, 5 RBs. One more RB added on here would not be crazy. On the clock in BBM here for 2 picks with a 2-6-6-1 build. And Mike Gesicki came all the way back. So sure, Mike Gesicki stacked up with our boy Joe Burrow. That is fine by me. Mason Taylor here, seemingly going to start. I don't think he's good, but we took Braylon Allen on this team as well. So we'll get some more Jets representation with Mason Taylor. And that is it for this round right now. We got, what, one more click left? Yeah, one more pick left at the end. We are up on the clock on drafters because I cannot rest mentally here. 5 RBs, last pick on the board. Got Bo Nix. Did Troy go? Troy Franklin's still available. Come on down, Troy Franklin. People may think that Bryant's going to take his role immediately. I don't think that's going to be the case. So it's final team on Drafters here. And again, please do play on Drafters. I wouldn't be doing the stream today if we're not thanks to our friend at Drafters. Use the promo code SPLASH at drafters.com. Get in here. Again, no playoff pods, 17 weeks of total points. You can see here, even when I am getting slaughtered doing multiple drafts at the same time, so able to build competent teams on Drafters that feel pretty good. And that's what you get for the most part here. Site I finished top 100 a couple years ago in their big tournament. Last year finished top 12 in their big playoff tournament as well with only 3 entries. You get upside if you play Drafters the right way. So do check them out for yourself. $100 deposit match for yourself on drafters.com. Use the promo code SPLASH. So we got Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix on this Drafters team with Ashton Genty and Kyron Williams. So some RB picking going on. In fact, the opposite of a 0 RB build is what we did here. Didn't get a wide receiver until much later on. We got Genty, Kyron, Bashal, Tootin here. Big swings on Tootin and Trey Benson behind Kyron and Genty. We got Braylon Allen as well, who should be in a committee for the Jets this year based on all the coach speak so far. Chris Godwin leading the wide receiver room. Chris Olave behind him. Pickens, Ayuk, Jaden Higgins. This is where the room falls off a little bit, in my opinion. Keon Coleman, though, viable to me as a wide receiver 5 type, so I'm okay with that. Jalen Royals, Diami Brown, Devon Velley, and Troy Franklin late stacked up with Bo Nix. And then Brock Bowers, Zach Ertz, Juwan Johnson at tight end. Bowers carrying most of the water there, but the other guys can make a lineup if Bowers gets hurt. I'm all right with that team. Getting the unstacked Trevor Lawrence is the more painful thing on this BBM team, but our BBM team here with 1 pick left, we have Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Johnson, Tyrone Tracy, Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler, Braylon Allen. Really tough, I think, to have these 2 guys up top. Like, in hindsight, I needed to add more projectable guys later on. Do you think Eckler, Brian Robinson, Braylon Allen, Tyrone Tracy the least, I think, safe play out of that group, despite being the highest ADP guy out of them? But I should have gotten some more vet guys in there, I think, if I'm going to have Judkins and Caleb up top. Wide receiver, Chase Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Bateman, Christian Kirk. I like the group. Definitely could stand to add one more on here in the last round. And at tight end, Isaiah Likely, Gesicki, Mason Taylor. So we basically got a Baltimore stack, sans the QB. We got our Cincinnati triple stack here with Gesicki and the 2 big guys, Chase and Higgins. Not much RB correlation, but definitely some possibility here to get bringbacks for these guys in week 17, in particular Burrow. So I think it did okay here. I think the BBM teams to me felt the weakest, but that's how it is. It's just I promote things at different times of year, but I appreciate you. It's nothing to worry about, really. But I appreciate the kind words. More so just being for a last round stack with Jaden Daniels not staff drafting. Oh, for Noah Brown? Yeah, sure. I think in our 20-round draft for sure. 18-round draft on Underdog. Little thin. He doesn't really have an ADP on him at 215.7. Look, I think it's all fair. It's all, I would take shots on him, though, if you were going to take him. Who's the rookie that they added? Like, if I were to take shots on him, it would be the lesson that we learned last year with the Zach Ertz versus Ben Sinnott thing. If I were to take shots on Noah Brown, I would also take shots on Jalen Lane. That's it. Probably McCaffrey as well. Don't think I would touch Gallup. Don't think I would touch Osborne, Strachan, or Chris Moore. But I would try to split your bets with Brown, McCaffrey, and Jalen Lane. Would think those guys are pretty similar bets competing for the same slice of the pie. And McCaffrey, frankly, in year 2, like, I'm not going to take him nearly as much, if at all. But I do think McCaffrey is still a player you should probably mix again in last rounds for sure. The DK draft, feel like Wicks at 211 is a cutoff. You want to be done with receiver by round 18. I think that's fair. Learned about drafters from you last year, won $20K in the $2 mini. That's awesome. Glad to hear it. Look, I've said it for myself, my own experience, but glad to hear that from Fallbrook as well here. Really the fact that like you have that big upside and less entries, I think is the main thing here. Obviously for an underdog, for DraftKings, you can win in less entries as well, but it gets harder and harder each year. And for drafters, I know with my own results and frankly, no disrespect to drafters because they've been a great partner, but I've paid the least attention to them over the last few years and I've had some of the better results there in terms of finishes. If you are paying attention year-round, building solidly constructed teams, total points format and losing the pod luck, you'll find your depth a little bit more. That's how that looks. And I am still going here, unfortunately, but we will be wrapping up with this last pick here in Underdog's BBM. Guys, if you got value in the video, one more time here, please show some love. Number one, check out Drafters, $100 deposit match at drafters.com. Using that promo code SPLASH. They've been a great partner for me for years, and they are still a great partner, which is always great. Glad to have here for sure. Is Diami Brown still here? Diami Brown still here. Parker Washington still here. We'll go Diami. It's been a Diami late start here. Let's read the final team. Clicked, right? I think it clicked. Just make sure because the clock is still going. Final team here: Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Johnson, rookies leading our RB room, Tyrone Tracy, Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler, and Braylon Allen at RB. At receiver, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, early draft capital for receivers here. Maybe take less of them overall. Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, the Baltimore double without the QB, but maybe bringbacks potentially for Joe Burrow in week 17. And Christian Kirk winds out the wide receiver room. So we got 6 guys in before pick 120. I think you can live with that. At tight end, Isaiah Likely, Mike Gesicki, Mason Taylor. Tight end room, a little bit weaker here than I should have for sure, but Mason Taylor, a starter. Gesicki spiked, and he's stacked with our QB, and we got him at a pretty good ADP discount. Tight end probably should have gotten more early attention, but that's my final BBM team. Yes, guys, please do show some love if you can. Again, Drafters, promo code SPLASH, $100 deposit match. Link in the description as well, or use that promo code SPLASH on the app, but it does support the show directly. Shows Drafters that we're locked in here. And frankly, this year as well, the more you play on there along with me, the better it looks for my deal with Drafters. So check it out, drafters.com, promo code SPLASH. Of course, make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time on this channel. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod. Check out my NBA DFS content / soon MLB DFS content on the at Splash Play Bets channel if you want the no NBA video today. And I'll be back with you guys again soon. So probably going, I don't think I'm going to go to 5 days a week quite yet, but probably going to get some more drafts up on streams. Hit the notification bell. Possible I pop in this weekend as well and do some Drafters drafts. It's all up in the air at this point, guys. It's going to be a lot more impromptu stuff going on. So get in here, join the channel if you want access to my rankings as well. Right now they work for BBM. They will work soon for Drafters and DraftKings. My goal is by end of next week to have those good to go. So join the Squirt Squad tier or the VIP tier if you want to read my blurbs and also see the actual rankings for those sites and have ones you could use on them. But that's it for now, guys. So thanks for hanging out here. Stressful stream getting through the redrafts, but we saw some key differences. So hopefully you got some value out of it. I'll see you guys again soon. So enjoy your weekends. Good luck and bye-bye.